Good morning, good evening, and good night, wherever you are in the world, citizens. I'm Execute, joined today by... No, yes, I am joined by Algared. We are having massive technical difficulties, so we are not feeling lucky at all. Algared's camera died just before we just started the show.
Literally.
Yeah, literally died. So he's
literally died, turned it on, nothing. Dead as a doornail. Not even a flicker of life.
Yeah, so you only get my ugly mug today, but Algared will be a voice in the void, and we'll have to get him a camera set up, new camera during the week. How long was that? Did it run? Like 4 years, I think, Algared? It was working just yesterday. That's the funny, ironic thing. So yeah, about 4 years, Algared. We got out of it, didn't we?
Sorry?
We got about 4 years out of that camera, didn't we?
Possibly 5.
Yeah, so we had a long run with it. Mine, we only got two. I think we only got 2 years out of the same camera for me. So yeah. It had a good run.
He did. It's an expense I certainly was not expecting.
Yeah, especially when we're saving for CitizenCon. So it's not a good thing to have. So anyway, we'll get that sorted and squared away. But I also had my own issues this week. I've had a hell of a week. So literally after stream last week, I thought, oh yeah, I feel a bit sleepy. I'll have a nap. Ended up sleeping for 16 hours. I woke up with some kind of weird infection and hallucinated and all this stuff. When I did wake up, my computer wouldn't turn on. And then basically for the next 5 days, I'm trying to fix a computer while I'm sick in some of the hottest days of the year. That we had here all at the same time. So yeah, I had a swell of a time, and then meet back up with Algared, and now I've seemed to have passed all my problems on to Algared, and he's now having not similar, but new tech issues. So not a lucky week at all, Algared.
No, I haven't had. I feel like I haven't slept. X has slept well last night. Look how fresh and vibrant he looks.
I had the best sleep in such a long time, and Algared's going, "Oh, I haven't slept," and I'm like, I didn't want to say anything, but yeah. All right.
I feel like I'm doing a Muttley at the moment.
Yeah. All right, so let's flick it over to the browser here. And I'm going to hit the wrong button a couple of times today. You know that with you being here, now you not being here, so to speak. I'm not used to clicking the solo button, so I'll just turn that one off for today. So you were saying the Anvil F8C Hornet Mark II thing has dropped, and just before we started, and so you've had a quick look. So do you want to talk me through what you've looked at? We'll go in and have a look.
Very first thing is we've got a homage to Top Gun with the F8C Mark II.
Oh, that image is 100% out of a Top Gun.
We've complete with 80s style music.
Oh, really?
So,
where's the music?
Oh, yeah.
Have I got the music turned off? I don't have any music.
Not good.
Oh, you're talking about in the trailer? Is there some kind of trailer?
Yep.
Where is it?
Up that one there, right there. For Hornet Mark II. No, you've passed it.
Okay, I've passed it. I don't see a video. Oh, this one. Right, here we go. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, it's Tom Cruise's. Okay. A good homage, but a bit lackluster for me.
I did say it was a homage.
Yeah. All right. How are we looking pricing then? Because you and I have been kind of seeing this coming because of the movement of Hornets.
F8C Mark II, $175. That's a $50 increase on the F7C.
Isn't that the old price of the Super Hornet, like the original
125.
price?
125 F7C. Oh,
of the Super. The original Super was 175, wasn't it? And then it went up to 185, and now it's up to like something else.
But the F7C was 125. Like the F7C has the cargo container, not the ball turret.
Right, has anyone does anyone in chat that's managed to complete the mission and know the price of the F7A? I'd be curious if anyone can, or is there somewhere we can find that information? Me and Algared are obviously just waking up to this, so you guys are this is probably all old news to you guys, like 5 hours old or some shit. But yeah.
Now, someone in chat said, "Tell us why we shouldn't buy it." Well, it's an F7C. It's an F7C.
It's a fighter for one.
$25. It's got 2 size 1 shield generators, 2 coolers, 2 batteries.
You are essentially playing.
Now, this is interesting. We've now got life support appearing in our ships like fighters as well. So it's got a size 1 life support. That's a new component we haven't seen before.
I did think Algared in the video. I went, oh, if only, where he just goes, you know, like that never happens. But anyway,
it's got size 1 computer, size 1 radar, power plant, two power plants, 2 size 1 power plants. It does have a quantum drive. It does have a jump drive.
Is there actually, like, you're the stats guy over me, but is there? I'm just looking at these 2 panels. There doesn't seem to be really anything, unless there's nothing between them.
There's not really much between them. But I can see. You look at the weapons. That's really going to be the only difference.
All right.
In terms of data, there's no difference in data.
Can we CCU up to one? That's my next question.
We can.
That might be the secret sauce to get us the CCU instead. And what do we actually have to do for the mission?
Sorry?
What do we have to actually do for this mission?
Well, the mission, from what I can gather, is the Overdrive mission. So the Overdrive Initiative is, I believe, the Zeno threat stuff, because of the whole series of things that I did read they're bringing out, where you complete a whole pile of missions. Some are solo missions, some are group missions.
Oh, it's a complement. It's a complementary upgrade to the F7A, so it costs 175. Okay, that's. I can't complain at that. You know what I mean? Like, it means all you have to do is do this, and let's actually say what it is. Oh yeah, it actually goes into calling all pilots, agent systems required. They've been working on this for a while. You can tell just from the art.
It's a CDF initiative. Yep. And there's a whole pile of different things. So it's a Zeno thread are doing something. So they're tying a whole pile of missions in, whether it's solo, group, major battle. And the goal of the CDF is to stop it. And so once you complete the Overdrive Initiative, you get access to the F7A. Mark II, I believe. So the F7A is also available in this one.
So wait, this says mission 1, implying there's more than one. So it's a series of missions. Okay, so we're going to have to jump in over the weekend and get a couple done. Okay, all right.
So whole series of mission packs. Some are, like I said, some are solo, some are groups, some are pitch battles. It does look like a really good mission. Unfortunately, to add to my technical issues and woes, I can't get into Star Citizen.
Well, as long as you accept the mission, I don't think you'll actually have to do the mission to get access, as long as everyone as a group gets it done. Do you think that's how it's going to work? Yeah, so I think you'll be fine.
But I can't even get into Star Citizen, so my technical woes are...
Yeah, but again...
at present.
Yeah, so that sucks. That part sucks, but it still means you'll be able to get access to buy it if you want it, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, I don't think you'll be locked out of that, which is kind of good, because then you let the community carry you, so it's more of a community event than a soloistic event, anyway. Wow, F7A. Wow. That's kind of interesting, because I'm just trying to think of how that's going to affect that $400 upgrade that was $20. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's going to kill that $400 upgrade that was $20. The other thing that's interesting is that it means the F7, because of the way we're doing the F7C Mark II, That answers the question of whether they were going to upgrade the F7Cs or we were going to start getting the different models. Well, we're getting the different models.
Yeah. So Citizen Ninja on Twitch is just saying that basically it's got an upgraded power plant and they changed the SCM speed and has some extra weapons. That's it. Wow, that's not a lot. When it's summarized like that, yeah, it's not a lot.
Yeah, and again, it's but
I think he means between the C and the A, but then again, yeah, $50 to go from Mark 1 to Mark 2 is a bit steep.
Well, for an F7C, bloody oath. Right.
Yeah. That is for what was originally, if you guys remember or weren't around or haven't been here, they always said they were going to do upgrades between older versions of ships and new versions of ships, and it'll be a cup, like a CC, like it was kind of, they never really ever set a price, but it was kind of always pitched like it was like a cheap CCU, like like $15-20, and then it's just dropped at 50.
It's a CCU, in fairness. It's just a bloody expensive CCU.
Yeah, and but the way it was kind of pitched was always, it always felt like it was going to be cheap, not like, but that, again, you can tell that this is a money-raising thing. And the fact that they've even offered it as a CCU, you can see why it's a $50 CCU, though, because they are trying to raise funds for something. I don't know what. Well, we know they're going to need marketing money, aren't they, for Squadron? So that's probably what it is. Yeah.
Money, I think it's, I think that's really the key. Is we're reaching the end of the Squadron 42 development,
right? And
they're doing the polishing in it, and it's All right,
I'm gonna get the bot up and running because I completely forgot. It's been one of those days, though.
Yeah, because I'm not on to remind you.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
It's all your fault. I'm gonna blame you 100% for me not doing anything. Yeah, that sounds legit. Alrighty. Let's do a test. Okay, they're just not good.
There it is.
Oh no, yeah, she's working on YouTube. Not working on Twitch though. Interesting.
That's the joys of the rebuild. All the little things just break.
Yeah, that is it. Shit. Okay, Twitch, you might be shit out of luck. Don't know why. But yeah, get your questions in, guys, because this, as you guys know, this stream works on questions. So, and Algared will be on point with that today because he's not on camera.
I'll endeavour to be on point with that. We've got 2 so far. It's going to be a very short stream.
Oh, it's going to be a very weird stream because I've got to do everything manually too because you're not here. As in, I'm set up for buttons on everything to people. So now, yeah. All right, so John Ski's got a question that's saying, did you notice in the video that the turret was tracking on its own? No, I did not. But that could have been done that way for cinematic purposes, John. So, yeah, I wouldn't...
F7C doesn't have a turret. You mean the...
nose turret? He means this thing. This thing. Up the top here, it does have a turret, Algared. This thing.
The F7C doesn't.
Okay, well, these pictures are obviously clearly lying.
The F7C doesn't have a ball turret. It's got a replaceable ball turret. Always has. The standard F7C just has a cargo container of 1 SCU instead of the ball turret.
Yeah, but that's not in the turret. The one in the trailer, Algared. And look at the image on my screen. That is clearly... Okay, I don't know what to call it. Like, I don't know what the name is. Like, there's some kind of little thing you're getting caught up on. But look at that image. It's clearly got a turret on the top of it.
Because I can't see that there.
Can you see it now? I've literally switched over to it. Like, everyone should be able to see this. There's clearly a turret on top of this thing. That's the F7A. So yes, okay. So the F7A has a turret on top of it. There we go. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
F7C doesn't, and the video was the F7C. So unless you're putting the nose turret.
Well, I didn't say. I didn't. Okay, whatever.
No, I didn't notice either.
I'm really confused now. Get caught up on names. Anyway, right.
But yeah, so the F7C is the one in the original film would go to the shop and get an ice cream pack because
Well, again, if you go back to the question, did you notice in the video that the turret has a tracking on it? So
and the answer was no.
Yep.
All right. Second question was from Benjamin Frick, and the answer is basically we can't really check at the moment, or we haven't been able to check at the moment. Besides the 2-seat difference between the F7A and the Super Hornet, what's the difference? And I think that was kind of a couple of missiles and.
Yeah, from memory, there is no real difference other than you get an additional seat to kind of assist you, and it has been the version that for the longest time people would recommend. But again, with this sail gun, it might be. I wonder if there's a way I can pull them up. And can you actually get a Mark II Super Hornet? Is that a thing? Have you looked at that or nope? Because the thing I'm noticing is the Super Hornet's not here in the list.
Well, Super Hornet was always the closest you could get to the was the civilian version. It was as close as you could get to an F7A.
Yeah.
So. So we've got I think we've just got an F7C Mark II. Yep. I don't see any of the other variants. I don't see the Ghost or the Stalk, the Tracker. Or the Super Hornet. It's just the F7C at present. I was having a look to see what else I could find, but then we ran into technical difficulties and we're trying to sort those out. So
okay, so it looks when you buy it, it comes with this Simoon. No, someone's girlfriend's name is Simoon. Hey, look at Simoon.
Simoon.
I don't know. I like the factory standard one, but I'm going to be honest, none of them really take they all seem like versions of other skins we've kind of seen before. Like, how you kind of get the blue one, the grey one, the white snow one. Like, they're all really common. There's nothing that really, nothing really floats my boat at all in those.
All right, so according to the ship upgrade, there is just an F7C Mark II.
Right.
At 175.
Yep.
That's that's the same price as an F7C Wildfire, which makes sense because the Wildfire basically was, I think, the closest we got to an overpowered F7 Super Hornet. Or F7C Super Hornet.
Oh, wait a minute. That might be the difference. Like, so I'm looking here at the F7C, no turret, F7A, turret. Aha!
Yep.
Click. Right. Click. Now I understand what you're saying. Right. Now I'm on board with what you were saying. Right. I get it now. And there's an additional power plant. One time size 2. Yeah, so you get a whole second size 2, which makes sense because you got the turret. You get an additional 2 times size 3 and 2 times size 3. So that's an extra 6 guns. Are you insane? What? Yep. Wow.
Yeah, the F7A is a beast.
Wow. Right.
The F7A is a beast, but when you compare the F7C Mark I to the F7C Mark II, it doesn't seem to be much difference at all. But it's a $50 increase. And that hurts.
Yeah, I'm assuming, though, you'll be able to buy the ball turret and that stuff in game and upgrade.
Oh, you will be able to buy the ball turret, but when you look at the if you look at the F7A or the F7C Mark I versus the F7C Mark II, I can't see the $50 increase.
No, not for just a few guns. And it looks like original F7C owners are going to get this visual upgrade as well. So
no, because it's an upgrade. It's an upgrade. It's a 50 upgrade.
So does that mean they're going to keep the Mark I around? Damn. Okay.
That's what it looks like. That's what I was saying. The F7C Mark I, there is an upgrade to the Mark II, $50.
Yep, and then you get a complete upgrade up to the A if this mission's done, right?
If you complete the mission, it's
Yeah, I don't know. Let us know in chat what you guys think of that one, because I'm with Algared. I can't justify $50 for a couple of guns. It's like a wildfire scenario all over again, Algared. You know, you're paying for it.
Well, given that the F7C Mark II is the same price as a Wildfire,
Hmm.
but the Wildfire's got the ball turret. Now, I struggle to see what the difference is.
Yeah.
It has to be higher speed, but I couldn't compare the speeds on the Matrix Allies because the Matrix Allies wasn't opening.
I'll just come back to the money raising thing. They're definitely trying to raise something, and I think it's got to be marketing. Yeah, it's got to be marketing.
I think part of it is feature creep as well. Unfortunately, it's as time's gone on, they've built bigger weapons, and you know the older fighters have been left in the dirt, and so there's that aspect.
I think that will be a recurrent trend this year, though. Like what we saw with the F8 Lightning and this, I think we're going to see more of those rarer ships come up for sale to try and get funds up so they can market Squadron 42. I just get that feeling that that's what this is.
And you've also got the situation where, sorry, my sleep-deprived adult brain is struggling.
Oh, I can tell you're sleep-deprived. It is very noticeable to me because I've worked with you for a very long time. You're confusing me with some of the things you're saying. That's how I know you're tired. But that's fine. Keep going. Do your best.
But yeah, just looking at the thing that also struck me is the fact that on those ships they're listing the life support system. So there's a new component being added to these ships as well. So that's pretty that's interesting.
Yep.
That tells us something that's coming. But yeah, the price increase, that feature creep that we're getting with ships and the way they're priced, that's a concern. But then we've always known the price of ships was going to increase.
Yep.
Like, you know, even the F7A or F7C, which was 125, and it's been that for the longest time. We always knew that was going to increase in price as well. So,
all right, Stella Fortuna. Was there anything here that grabbed your eyes, so to speak?
No,
nothing.
Oh, there is a coin to earn in Arena Commander.
Right.
Which you can do in groups, and you really need groups to do that. But again, if you can't get into Squadron, if you can't get into Star Citizen, you can't do it anyway. So
I'm going to be honest, it really comes down to it's a bunch of skins. And unlike other years, Algared, you tell me if you think this is different, you can essentially buy the skin. You don't need to buy the ships anymore. So you don't need to go get out and buy a whole constellation to get a green one. You can just pick them up. So that's a massive advantage. And let's be honest, unless you're a racer, really, it's just the Hercules. That's kind of it. And if green's not your forte, you're shit out of luck.
Then, oh, well, too bad.
Yeah. Hey, do you like green? No. Oh, well, you're unlucky. Like that's it.
Man, you're not lucky. Yeah. Are you feeling lucky, punk? No, because you're unlucky.
Yeah, and for those of you that are crazy, not lucky, you've got a $3,294 USD, and that's probably in Australian dollars, so I do apologize, but that's insane. Do you want to buy every green ship in the game?
Yep. All
right.
Some people are crazy.
Some other Origin ships here. A2 wouldn't recommend. C2 can get behind that. Fury, no. Great loner, really good for the engineering coming up, but no. M2 is probably where it's at with the Hercules, if I'm going to be completely honest. Mercury, yeah, but the stilts, Algared and I hate stilts. Let's just leave it at that. Needs a bit more love. No. Actually, that's where the Razor would be at, actually, wouldn't it, Algared? With the scouting. I think it.
I think the X, the X is the stealthy Razor. That's probably the snub ship. Like it's basically a snub ship for Razor. It's small. But
unless you're into racing, basically.
Unless you're into racing, but the Razor's
Yes. Okay. Redeemer would probably be Redeemer. I can get behind. I love this fucking thing. I'm not going to
Yeah.
hold back my passion for that thing. It is very expensive for what it is, though. But again, if you're going to buy a fighter, go hard or go home. And all those complaint videos from the PvP community at the moment, this is one of the reasons they're complaining, because this thing's going to start to ruin their day, quite heavily. Can't get behind the Harboring at the moment because it's only got 3 torpedoes and you get the Gladiator for like half the price, and it does the same number of torps.
It's got bigger torpedoes.
Won't have the longer range. No, it's the exact same size torpedo as the Orion. Yeah. Hoplite, really bad kind of dropship compared to some other dropships in the game, but it does have its place. Sentinel, I would say, is where it's at. Honestly, Algared, out of that lineup. The Warden, a little bit better than the other two.
I think the Sentinel's the better ship on paper. But it doesn't have its gameplay yet because it's got the sensors and the e-warfare stuff. So
another one of those ships, Algared, that you and I talk about, where it just shows you potential gameplay that we just haven't seen, like, because there's no other e-warfare ship essentially, unless you count Data or the Raven with EMPs, but there's none that are built around it like that, is there?
The only other one that was close was the was either Hornet Ghost.
Yep, that's got stealth. That's more like the ES. So the one I think is the closest, believe it or not, is actually the Defender, because the Defender's got those EMP missiles that it's got.
Yep, but the other one was, I think the one had the sensor type stuff and on the Hornet. So I think there was a variant on the Hornet that kind of was close.
The Tracker or the Ghost?
The Tracker or the Ghost, I can't remember which one.
Okay.
But one of them I thought was more VE warfare, and one was more stealth. So it was kind of.
So there are other ships that have an element of what the Sentinel has, like, so they have the missiles, or they have like the things you're mentioning. But there's nothing that has everything it has.
Yeah, the Sentinel was the first one that's going to have everything in one place.
So yeah, if you're after a Warden, that's the one I'd be looking at. But I'm not a big fan of the nose guns and a lot of other, like, we'll put it this way. Back when Sear was with us more regularly, he had every version of the Warden, and then they brought up those nose guns, and he melted them all. Like, he was and if you know Sear, he's a very passionate guy. For him to up and remove all of them just tells you how much he hated them. So yeah, it's not in a good position right now.
There were lots of things that he didn't like about it. I think he didn't like the tracked wheels either, or he liked the tracked wheels and didn't like the way they changed it. But yeah, there were just things he wanted to love the ship, but in the end he just couldn't.
Yep.
So
and that happens with some people.
Ski has a question for us. He says, "Up, that's the one you answered about the turret." So Malta AV says, "No Twitch questions. Have to run to YouTube and back."
No, Twitch is now coming up. So they are coming up.
That was a Malta AV comment from Twitch. So Twitch is working now.
It did not take my 2 test messages for some reason, so I think it just took some time to get going. I'll double check it now.
Yep. No, it's working because that was a comment from. I've got purples in there, so.
Yeah. For some reason, mine are just not coming. Oh wait, it's because I'm typing test, not question. See, I'm tired too. I'm an idiot. There you go. As soon as I type question, it works straight away. Yep, she's working. I'm just a guppy. Yep, that's fine. All right. Sorry, Algared, go ahead.
All right, so Ben Frick, he says, with the Overdrive, are you excited for the update to Zeno 3? Yes. I think what we're doing is, it looks, and you can see, as X said right at the beginning, you can tell they've worked on this. This is something they've really planned.
So much new art and stuff on that. Like you only have to scroll through and see how many new, one of the things I have to do as a content creator, like when I make the thumbnails and stuff, is I go and gather screenshots, right? And I'm telling you, if you go through this effort, like, there is so much new art. I haven't seen this amount of new art in a really long time. So they've been working on this for quite a while. Like, there's it's a lot.
I suppose when you think of it, they've got the F7A being launched with it. They've got the F7C Mark II being launched with it. So that's a fairly big thing for them to do. But they've tied it in with this mission that is not only just a big, massive combat mission, but also got a whole pile of different stages to do.
Yeah.
And that's great. Like, that just shows, I tend to think that is opening the game up for both, well, for all type of people. It's not just those who like the mass combat. It's not just for those who like the PvP. It's not just for those who like. It's in covering all, it's embracing everyone, and that's what you want in the game. You want different areas where everyone gets to be involved and gets to feel like they're helping the world or saving the world and being the hero, regardless of the style of play they like.
Oh, Paul is talking about this shit too. Look. It's Paulception.
Yeah.
All right, we've got this to watch as well, Avatar Repertoire as well. So do you want to watch this? We missed it yesterday, so we're going to watch it now. I will have to. I think I've probably already got the filters off actually. Because I had them from yesterday.
Now that's one I am looking forward to because it does mean I can get the goat.
They've obviously got the new hairstyles in as well. All right, let's watch this.
One of the most anticipated aspects of the upcoming Alpha 323 has to be the persistent universe arrival of our new character customizer, enabling better representation and a true sense of ownership over your individual avatar in the verse. And to share with you the various ins and outs of what's ahead, let's throw it now to just a few folks standing in front of the massive team that made all of this possible.
The reality of the old character creator is that the old character creator could walk so that this one could run.
The original mandate was, let's just get the PU customizer working in Squadron with building blocks instead of Flash.
It was very bare bones. We hadn't had a lot of progress on it.
We had no design. We had no designer or anyone else working on the project except me.
Basically, the task was make it look pretty.
The very, very first underpinnings of the character creator actually still exist. It's our DNA system.
In the old one, you could only blend between the different faces. Also, you could only blend from one face to another at a time.
The character customizer for Star Citizen is so important because players get ownership over their character. They're not just representing some player character that some artist has created, but they're representing themselves. We want the player to be able to represent themselves in the world and the universe that is Star Citizen.
So the character customizer that's coming into Star Citizen in 323 is broken down into 4 main sections.
The first section of the character creator is the DNA system, and that's where the player actually interacts with the blending and the shape of the actual head itself.
It's still the same DNA system in terms of when we apply it to the characters. The difference is how we interact with that DNA system. So we've introduced face sculpting.
This is the big thing. So you can just grab these nodes on the face of the character that you have and shape it as you see fit.
What face sculpting allows us to do is, instead of saying, I want a certain proportion of a certain head, it allows us to say, I want to pull.
Algared, if they end up, do you remember the thing with the code system where they were going to give you like a number and you could just take that DNA code, so to speak, and like pop it in and give it to other people or whatever? Do you remember that?
Oh, vaguely.
I'm actually wondering if this could eventually become like a service in game. Like, you know what you and I talked about there, like being a doctorship. And for high-end like medical and stuff, they literally do surgery to change you to look like other people and stuff. So imagine a mission where you actually infiltrate somewhere, and I'm talking like multiplayer as well as single player, where you make yourself literally look like someone else and infiltrate into the space. That could be really interesting.
You know, there'd be plastic surgeons who would, you know, change your face and do everything else, and so I can't see why down the track that's not going to be a thing.
And basing on what we'd seen at CitizenCon with the melatoning and the change of the skin color and all that type of stuff, there's no reason why, if you didn't spend enough time or got someone that was more arty to do it for you, that you couldn't literally get something that looked exactly like you. That's kind of crazy how cool that is. But yeah.
This vertex to this position, and then we can work out what proportions of different heads is required to.
you know what would have been really cool for this too, I just realized, is if they allowed you to take a photo and overlay it over the face. So you could take a photo of yourself and line it up with your... Oh, can you imagine that? And then you could just draw all the points. So you, like, if you're looking at my nose, you could kind of like pull all the nose points around the outside of my nose and put the eyes where they need to go. Do you know what I mean? So you could actually kind of, and if you, so if you had a side-on photo and a front photo, you could generally make your own, yourself in the, that'd be sick. I don't know, maybe that's a feature we need to put up to CIG. That'd be kind of cool.
Get that vertex into that position.
The system is very, very cool, as behind the scenes, we can't just adjust the face into certain shapes and be happy with it. We have to also change the rig. We also have to change the corrective blend shapes.
But we've also kept the original DNA blending as well, but we've tried to improve the user experience of that as much as possible.
Now you have a full list of heads at your disposal, so you can see all the heads available, and you can tweak, you can take a bit of the nose from that face, you can take the eyes from that face easily. It's quick to use.
Yeah, so the PU is very modern, sleek looking look. We're trying to go for like the almost like the Apple Vision Pro look. But yeah, it's very modern compared to your Squadron, and it's a lot more in date, I guess you could say.
Basically trying to reduce the number of mouse clicks it takes to get what you're looking for.
So some of the other things that you can do in the DNA section is the skin tone adjustment, as well as the skin material or the skin texture itself. So what you can do within this is you can actually skin tone adjust this into realistic shades of certain skin tones to better represent yourself.
Your freckles, and we have some blemishes on there.
And these represent actual scans of people that we've done throughout the course of the years, and we've actually scanned a whole bunch more that we will be adding to the pool as time goes on.
But we are always making that pool larger, so the faces are always going to look better and better and have more variations in them. So the next big aspect is hair.
So within the hair section, there's a whole bunch of new hairstyles, which is obviously the first and most important thing. One of the interesting things, and the teams I represent worked really, really hard on this to have some hair simulation onto it. So you can see the hair move around as you're even selecting it, and then as you add it onto the character, you can see it move around even more.
But better than that, you now also have a massive library of beards and facial hair and eyebrows as well. So you can mix and match to get exactly what you're after.
Just thinking, you know that thing where they use the texture algorithm, they can change the color and stuff. I was wondering if they could actually do that to change the length of their hair. Because that would, because you imagine, like, you take one of those hairstyles and you're able to change the length, like how many different styles that essentially gives you. I wonder if that's the thing. I could be wrong, but yeah. Sorry?
That would give an unlimited number. I think the question then would be how that interacted with the flow of the hair and
yeah, it would have some follow-on effects that would change a few things, but still, if you were able to pull it off, like astronomical level of different styles, just because you can change the length and stuff. Yeah, it'd be interesting. And a lot of it, again, even if it's moving in the back, I guess there's a bit of wasted stuff, because as you said, if it's flowing but you can't see it because it's shorter or whatever, it might be acting like longer hair but physically be shorter. So yeah.
Instead of what we had before, where you could cycle through hairs, you could cycle through hair colors. You now have a massive library of all the hairs.
Whereas in the previous character customizer, we just had a bunch of preset material variants. For the new character customizer, we want to give the player the power to go in and actually edit those materials.
What's even cooler about this now is, though we had the hair selections before, you could never tint it. You could never come up with your own color set.
We can go in and we can change the natural color of the hair. We can change the dye amount.
But we also have the new gradient system, where you can choose to have one dye color for the roots of your hair, another dye color for the tips of your hair, and then you can set where the gradient changes.
Not only do we have like a blonde hair, but then we have a purple highlight that's done at the end or done at the top, and that's all player configurable. So not only do you have a whole bunch of different hairstyles to choose from, but you've got the full color gamut as well.
And all of that is brand new functionality that we've added to a character customizer, so we can update the shader params on the hair in real time.
So my favorite aspect of the new facial hairstyles is the variety. We have a large library for being the first version of this, and it's going to grow even more within the coming years.
And as we've begun to include more culturally diverse hairstyles in 3.23, the team is working on more that will be seen in the patches to come.
So the third major aspect of the new character customizer is styling.
The makeup is another completely new feature for the new character customizer.
You'll be able to pick your makeup.
I wonder how much Algared that is based on the same stuff they used on the tattoos. You'd have to assume it's the same, yeah?
I imagine there's a level of crossover there.
All right.
But yeah.
Up for eyes, your cheeks, and your lips.
We actually used to have makeup baked into the textures where we had already pre-selected eyeliners and all these kind of things to represent what that given skin tone was. But we wanted the player to make that choice. We wanted the player to have access to all the different gamuts of colors, all the different specular reactions, all the different highlights that they may want to do for their character.
For each of these, you will have some base versions that you can pick from, but you can also go in and tweak these on a deeper level. You can set the opacity, you can set different colors for, you can have one color for the eyeliner, one for the eyeshadow.
Like the hair, we can set certain colors and parameters on the makeup, so that's like how glossy it is and the opacity of the makeup. Unlike the
I'm starting to wonder now how immersion breaking this all is, like people running through with green hair, pink face, this type of thing.
Yes, but if you go to you go to cities and you see people with the different coloured hairs and the pink stripe. The number of people I see with pink hair is
it is the future too.
These days.
It is the future too. So.
It is the future. You'll get everything, but yeah.
hair, we actually set the shape of the makeup as well. And the way that we do that is we're basically adding new textures to the skin material on the players. And again, we update all of that in real time. And that is also quite similar to the new freckles and sunspots, how they work. That's again another texture that we've added to the player character's skin. And then we can tweak these parameters on the shader in real time to show more or less freckles or more or less sunspots.
So when it comes to the different styles and what you can achieve in the character customizer, it's been a constant push and pull of making it look really good, really realistic, and letting people just do what they want. And we've been trying to keep it as realistic as possible, but still letting people do exactly what they want with it, because we're leaving so much power in the hands of the players. They can tweak all these different colors and all of their different, on their hair, their facial hair, their eyebrows, as well as these different makeup sections. And it can get pretty zany.
So the makeup itself is actually a fairly complex.
Sorry, Algared?
There's going to be some very, very hideous characters.
I think it's going to be like, I'm just picturing people running around and like women with beards going, "Kiss me," and they're like doing the foot thing and stuff.
I can see people to even change, making the most hideous face they can, and then doing makeup on it. It's not just going to be makeup being leery; it's going to be faces being
kind of like a mini game. I think people are going to spend quite a few hours
doing their character.
Yeah, absolutely.
The other question is, how easy is it going to be to say change your makeup? Like,
I think eventually it will
you know
be
what I mean? Like
a profession unto itself. Well, I was sitting there thinking like a hairdresser or a makeup artist. Like I can actually, I was thinking eventually going in and people could actually like do proper makeup for you and all that. That would be a thing. And we know that they're doing a lot of movement to get more female gamers. Things like I know a lot of the fashion stuff's been working on the background. They are actually making a lot of female clothes and stuff like that. I've got no reason to think that they wouldn't go down that line with other professions like hairdressing and stuff like that. And that, though that might not be appealing to most men, that's stuff that a lot of women are into. So I can actually see it being, again, if you want a game for everyone, it needs to be a thing. And I can see why they're doing it.
But the way they're doing the makeup, you could actually do a makeup scheme that was basically a camo setup.
Yep, absolutely.
You know,
The whole war
mhm.
paint thing, and yep, absolutely.
Do the different shades of colour on the face for a particular thing, and then if you can change it very easily, you could.
Well, it all comes under that wear and tear system too, so to speak. So you could have frostbite on your face, you could have, you know, heat and scarring, or covered in mud and all that type of thing. So it all carries over into other things as well. Like as in the, and I just mean the system you use for it.
Yep.
would work on other things.
But you know, so I'd ideally like a system where if you put makeup on, you know, you change it very quickly. You know, today I don't want to wear green. I want to wear red. I want to be blue. I want to be pink. I want to be normal, or whatever normal is. But you know what I mean?
I think you just secretly want those goggles from Fifth Element that you can chuck on and they change your eyeliner instantly. That's what it is.
Yeah.
All right.
Complex feature behind the hood, but in the end, I think it actually presents as a pretty fun interaction to changing up the skin tone and, again, representing yourself within the world of Star Citizen.
So the fourth main feature is all the additional functionality. We'll have a review page where you can see your character.
This is when you're actually taking a look at your character as a whole, from the toes all the way to the top of the head.
Another part of the core functionality of this is the randomization. So now we allow players to both randomize the whole thing. So you get a totally new look, so you get a good canvas to start off of.
Now, one of the really fun things about the character creator, and I didn't mention at CitizenCon and definitely should have, is that we do have the save and load functionality finally within the character creators.
So you'll be able to export your character onto your PC and find that file, send it to your friend, and they can import that into their game and see that character on their machine.
Yeah, that kind of confirms what I was saying before. Because if you can save it and give it to other people, you could literally have an army of the same person. So if someone makes themselves look like Morphologist. Morphologist could literally have an army of Morphologists running around behind him. Catch me if you can. Yeah, that's gonna be crazy. Army of clones.
So no longer will you have to worry about a reset or anything. You can save your character, you can reload it.
You can not only save your character to persistence and get it to load into a PU, but you can save a bunch of characters that you can then just load in at any time into a character customizer. And you can also send these to other players that they can then load in your custom-made characters as well. And this is the exact same tool that we're using internally at CIG to create NPCs that we're rolling out to all players in 3.23.
And I'd like to take this very rare opportunity to ask you guys and to challenge you guys to make a version of Jared and share it with the community and with us so that we can see how close you've gotten. And if there's one I really like, maybe I'll do something pretty terrible with it.
What I'm really hoping to see is a hyper-realistic Chris Perry that someone could send to me for reasons. So that's what's
Looks like Santa Claus Algared.
coming in 3.23. But in the future, we'll also be adding tattoos, piercings, stubble, and more eye settings. So you're gonna be able to do even more customization at that point.
So this is a major milestone for Star Citizen because finally the presentation is exactly at a state that we wanted. So many different teams have been involved in this, from lighting to environments, to feature teams, to tech art, to tech animation, to animation programming. Everyone has seen this, has been involved in this, and it's gone all the way up through the chain, through to executive approval. So it's finally to a state where Chris has actually been happy with it and that we could release it to the community.
Really happy. We put a lot of time and effort into getting it to where we want it to be today, so it's come a long way. Particularly happy with like how it's just easy to use, and you can basically go from like scratch and just completely start from a clean slate and just create whatever you want, really.
You're gonna be able to express yourself with your characters so much more than before. And you're gonna be able to see everyone in the verse really being themselves or whoever they want to be out there. I think that we have made one of the strongest character customizers that's out there at this point, and we are very proud of this.
So, what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that the character customizer in Alpha 3.23 is dope as that it's the next major milestone in our continuing efforts to to enable better representation and customization of your player avatars in the verse. And that even more options, things like tattoos, scarrings, and even more, are on their way after that. And, of course, if you don't want to spend time creating your avatar, you can just hit the little randomize button down there and see what you get. Random, 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 random. Oh.
Hi, I'm David. I have to read the teleprompter. I'm the producer for ISC. I make it possible for Jared to do stupid things like this. And I'm British. That's it, just British. I say things like peanut butter, water, and rubbish. And I'm always explaining to others why Jared did things like this. And I'm good at my job. Aw. But my job is being British. Teleprompter. What's that line? What was that?
We like to have fun. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thanks for letting us share the process of game development with you, and we'll see you all here next week. All right, so are we recording?
Yeah, we're all in.
All right. So normally at the end of the show here, we would have a meme image. It's funny, haha. David, do we have anything this week?
We're going to have one thing, but we're not allowed to show it yet.
Oh, the one thing we're not allowed to show yet. Well, I mean, who wants to live forever? Hold on, let me get out of here. There we go. There's a lot better. Can you see this? No, this way. What is this? Wow. Yeah. What sounds do the birds make? Clearly, never heard what a bird sounds like before in our lives.
Is that the bird from the Cyan bird, Algared?
I don't think so. I just thought that was a takeoff of Jurassic Park, the reboot where the pterodactyls attack the.
Well, that's actual 3D art. So wherever they've grabbed that from, that's a real thing. So that's just people saying so people are saying Jurassic World in chat, Algared, but that I think that's one of the Cyan birds. Bird from Alfred Hitchcock, you reckon? Okay, so some people are saying Alfred Hitchcock as well. Yeah, I'm not sure about Jurassic Park. I don't remember this scene from Jurassic Park. Looks more like Hitchcock, especially with the way the clothing.
Well, when they've got the theme park opening, I mean, it's all brand new, and the pterodactyls attack the place. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know that one. I'm going to work that one out. I don't know, probably a bit too obscure for myself, but yeah. All right. As a whole, though, yeah, Customizer. What was there really news since CitizenCon? There was a few little updates, but there was nothing.
Well, it was a reboot. It was a rehash of what they did at CitizenCon with a few little.
Pretty much what all the ICs have been so far this year. They're just, and he did say at the end of, to be fair, at the end of CitizenCon, I don't know what I'm going to show you for the next 6 months. He did say that. So
yeah, and look, it was. Well, it was a lot in CitizenCon, and even that wasn't, I got to admit, even though I was liking what I was seeing and go, oh, yeah, it was nice to see a more quick.
Well, that's why. Through. Sorry, keep going. So what you going to say?
A quick run through of the character customizer. It raised a few questions for me of the types of things I'd like to see, but it's also nice to see that you're doing, and it's coming. It's in the next patch, so.
Yeah, I think the other thing for me was still trying to think of that movie at the end. I actually think it is an Alfred Hitchcock thing because of the birds. But then when you go, so I went past that and I started thinking someone had to model that bird. And he also talked about we're not allowed to show it yet, which implies to me that it is an animal coming into the game.
Yep. Yep. Well, if it was an animal coming into the game, would it be a Xian bird? Probably not, because we don't have any Xian plants yet.
Do you remember when they were talking about the little lightweight birds and the fish and stuff?
Yeah.
Maybe it's the first version of one of those, like they've actually done art for them or whatever. I don't know. That's an interesting one. All right, so
I think DJ Jack's probably got it. It's a hint that animals are coming.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, or more animals are coming. Or,
All right. So we've probably got about 10 more questions. So again, this stream will end when you guys run out of questions. So we're not even at the hour mark yet. So we've got 2 hours and 5 minutes. So if you guys want to give us questions for the next 2 hours, we'll do questions for the next 2 hours. Before I continue though, I do want to go and say that there is a bar citizen in my city. It's going to be the first Tasmanian bar citizen. So if you are from Australia this weekend, Launceston, they're having one. So if you are from Tassie and listening to this and want to come, you can look it up. There's a bar citizen in my town, and I will be in attendance. Not that that's a draw card to come. That it might even be a draw card not to come for some people. But yeah, I'll be there, and I think they've got about 20 people going at this point. So yeah, just put that out. If you're in Tassie and want to swing on by, I'll be there. Right, Algared, is there anything else you want to do, or you can hit me with a question?
No, there's another question I'll do. So why don't you all ever have a stream planned out though, and just want questions right away? We've got a stream planned.
Because we do it
Just a
live.
question and answer stream.
Yeah, it's live. You know, we know this pre-recorded shit.
That's
we're
right.
not like Paul. We don't do it pre-recorded. No, yeah. Everyone always thinks Paul's pre-recorded.
A stream used to be, we'd come on, we'd watch ISC when we were doing them on the Friday.
Yeah.
We would do our stream, we'd watch ISC, not ISC, yeah, Inside Star Citizen. And then we'd take the questions on that and we'd basically give our reaction to that video and what we're thinking of it, and how that, pretty much like we did today. When we first started doing these, I think we even went in and did gameplay, but then that fell on its face because I'd stopped playing because I couldn't multitask. And then you guys all complained that Execute was a bastard because
I was distracted.
he was distracted, not answering questions, and the game was too noisy and everything else. So we went, well, screw that. We won't do it.
I do think, though, as the game becomes more of a game, you know, like there is actually more to do, you will see me and Algared not just do things like it'll probably pivot from being so much like this to where me and Algared will start playing the game, and you know, like it's a sign of the times type of thing. I think we can all, like, if we put all put our cards on the table, the Star Citizen is not very meaty at the moment. And when I say meaty in gameplay terms is, you know, you can kind of come in and burn out within a couple of weeks. And when me and Algared have been around as long as we have, there's not so much to do anymore, right? And most of what we get out of doing stuff is with groups of other people. So I don't know. Well, that's for me, Algared. I don't want to put your words in your mouth, but for me, it'll be coming on and playing with a group of people, and you know, maybe we'll do one-off streams. So say they drop a new gameplay, so they drop medical or something like that, we might drop on and do, you know, a medical gameplay stream or something like that. The more and more, but that's going to become more and more apparent now as they're working on Star Citizen. So we will match the gameplay as it appears, so to speak. I think is that a elegant way of putting it, Algared, or?
And a pretty accurate way to put it.
Yeah. All right, next one. Unless you got something else to add.
I'm just having a look. We also had a letter from a chairman yesterday too.
Really? Okay.
So that might be worth having a look at.
Very much so. Letter from the chairman.
Yep.
Oh, he did too. Holy shit. All right. You might look. I'll do a. Do you want to read that because you're better at it than I, and I'll answer a question while you have a quick look. Have you got it up on your end?
I do have it up on my end.
Yeah, I will flick it over and have it up in the background, and I'll answer this question. So, Monster Avery says YouTube has a character limit and Twitch doesn't. Hopefully, my question fits. Thanks for the heads up. So yeah, believe it or not, there is a call limit for YouTube, but there's not a call limit for Twitch. So when we've done really long streams, like when we do the CitizenCon one and stuff like that, eventually YouTube stops working. And that's just how it is, and there's just no way around it. So yeah, I think YouTube's set to do a draw like every minute, where Twitch, they just instantly come through, which is why I do all my tests on Twitch. So yeah. Anyway. Benjamin Frick says, question, with the unannounced ship in the pipeline, what role would you like them to fulfill? I think it's a pretty safe bet, Algared. and you'd probably agree with this, an unannounced ship and Invictus around the corner, it's probably in a military skew, unless you think different.
Or which was that? Sorry.
So there's I was trying to read at the same time. So he's got.
I would say the unannounced ship has with Invictus coming. It's going to be military few, but then we had the Blanks last year, which was launched at Invictus and was anything but military in basis. But
and knowing that we're halfway through March and Invictus is at the end of April, May, I can't see there might be another little event like Zeno Thread or whatever in the meantime, but I'd expect our first new ship will be at Invictus. We can be wrong because the only thing they are is inconsistent, not consistent. What do I usually say? The only consistent thing CIG does is be inconsistent. So yeah, I'd expect the first ship to be at Invictus, long story short. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's not one of the ones off that yellow ship image. But we'll have to wait and see. We've got a first-time chatter, so I'm chopping their question to the front of the line. He says, this is from the Pandamaniacs. Says, what do you make of the Hornet Mark 1 compared to the Hornet Mark 2? Is the Mark II upgrade a side grade? And I think that's kind of what Algared was implying earlier. It's a $50 upgrade for guns. It's almost like going from like the Wildfire upgrade for $15, except that it's got a name attached to it. Would you kind of say it's similar to that, Algared?
Yeah. Like the F8C Mark II.
Yep.
That $50 upgrade. I just don't see it. It just seems disgusting.
So Lemming just dropped this in Twitch chat and said Overdrive is going until Invictus launch week. So this is a 2-month event type of thing, essentially. Oh, wow. Okay, right. So that gives you a long time to pick it up. The F7A or whatever. So that's.
They'll probably do the F7A really big launch at Invictus. So it gives a really nice lead into that.
That sounds a lot like a really likelihood scenario. Yeah. Oh, you've unlocked it. Now you can buy the F7A at Invictus. Ba-ding! And that's the opening sale thing for the first day Invictus or something like that. That sounds on par.
The other nice thing about this event is this event isn't like, you know, the way in the past they've often done an event at Invictus with the free fly.
Yeah.
The fact that this is such a long period event means that people can get in, regular play, but we can get in and play the game before the masses join in free fly.
I think the other thing, though, Algared, you would agree, traditionally speaking, event-wise, Zeno Threat has been the better one, unless you think different. Unless I'm remembering the wrong event. This is the one where one group is killing ships in the Idris, and the other group is getting crates and stuff, right? That is that event, right?
Yep.
Or am I remembering that wrong? Yeah.
No, but that's the Zeno Threat.
And I think that's why it's been a better event, because it appeals to two types of players, not just combat or whatever. So it's got a bit of both, and it's been the one I've enjoyed the most doing, because again, it's got variety, so you can go out and do a bit of combat or go out and do a bit of cargo. I don't know. Let me guys know in chat. Like, what are the events? So you got Zeno Threat. You've got
Vandal's Lockdown.
Yeah, and there was one other one that I'm trying to remember. And
Siege of Orison.
Siege of Orison. But isn't there the one where you had? I remember I did it in Hercules, and I was trying to sell shit. It was you had to breach the blockade one. Was that the Nine Tails? That's the Nine Tails one, isn't it?
That's Nine Tails.
Yeah. So there's only 3 of them. I don't know. Let us know in chat. Actually, let's just do a fucking poll. Why not?
And there's also, I suppose, Jump Town, which is kind of homage to the glitch, but players kind of took over.
Start a poll. What is the best? I'm just going to call it event because it's not really dynamic in my book yet, or at least not yet. So we've got Zeno. We've got Nine Tails, and then we've got Siege of I am having a brain fart on how to spell Horizon. S-O-N, there we go. Horizon. God, man, I can't. I've butchered that. I know that's incorrect. I don't know why, but my brain is telling me I've spelled that incorrect. Hang on. Let's check. Google my spelling. Horizon. All right. Okay, apparently I got it right. Anyway, right. I need to redo this for Twitch on the other side. Bear with me. /poll. Right. What is the best event? And we've got Zeno threat. We've got 9
Long letter.
tails. And sorry, Algared?
It is a long letter.
Tell me when they've been short, Algared.
It's longer than I can remember them being.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. He's a man of details like you, Algared.
Well, it's also
sure
got
like me.
several snippets from Benoit and Rich.
So it's
as he introduced them, because so he talks about Turbulent joining and been partners with them since 2012, and then talks about them becoming part of the company, fully part of the company in 2023. Benoit had become a chief technical officer of he's now the
Horizon.
What is it? He's now
Horizon.
Someone in chat was going off for me because as Australians we pronounce it wrong. So he's telling me to click it Horizon because we call it Siege of Horizon. Yeah, whatever.
Well,
I think
you say tomato, we'll say tomato.
There's always a debate here in Australia because we have a place called Newcastle, but there are people that call it Newcastle. So is it Castle or Castle? And my mother's an English teacher, and this is an ending debate with she's always correcting everyone in the family how to say stuff, and I'm like, do you understand what I'm saying? Then it doesn't matter because language is a tool. And I think if you take that away, that as long as you can understand the other person, it doesn't matter. And the way I'd give you is, say you meet someone from a completely it's their foreign language, like they're from Japan or something like that, and you can at least articulate what they're saying. That's all it has to do. You've only got to cross that divide. Yes, it might be slightly annoying, but does it show more about you or more about them that you are not prepared to put up with a small little intricate, little problem to actually communicate with them? So at the end of the day, I see communication is just a tool. But yeah, at the end of the day, I just realized I did not do chat since the start. That's why.
So they talk about changes that are going on. So, changes in staffing, etc. Probably the big one is what he is shaping up to be. Squadron 42 is taking the game to feature complete and content complete, ensuring the game has the necessary polish that feels worthy to be the spiritual successor of Wing Commander, the thing that Chris has always wanted. I just think that more evidence that they are pushing for Squadron for this year or early next year. They talk about the jump point. So Chris goes into talking about the 10th of April 2271, which is when, in lore, Nick Croshaw makes the first jump point. And then Chris talks about the first player jump point made by someone named Mr. Trash, who was an Evocati member.
Right.
And he did that and jumped between Hurston and Pyro. And the other big thing with that is they achieved 350 players concurrently on a single shard.
I did hear that wasn't completely stable.
Yep.
Did you hear much about that? I know you haven't had much chance to get in when you can finally talk about stuff, but hopefully we'll get that fixed out.
Yeah, well,
talk about it a bit more.
So 350 in single shard, connected between the replication layer with 2 connected servers. So that's set a record for them. Yeah, so I think it's, as he says, after many years of hard work, the goal, what many said, was absolutely impossible. is on the cut, as he says, we're on the cusp of delivering one of the final pieces of technology that will enable a connected shard universe that thousands of people can experience together at the same time. And then there's a comment from Benoit, who's new chief technology officer at Cloud Imperium, and he talks about some of the things they're doing.
I do want to say, Algared, it was a long wait for server meshing, but
it was a long wait.
It was the last core pillar. Like, do you remember like pillar talk?
Yep.
Like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah.
So there is a lot that they've been pushing for, and the server meshing was the key thing. But the fact that, if you remember at CitizenCon, they said this is the first time we've got server meshing working with rooms, and you jump forward 6 months or so, and you've got server meshing now being applied to system, to Stanton and Pyro, and going not only just with 3 or 4 people, but 350 people. That's a massive jump forward from CitizenCon.
That's why it's a big letter too, Algared. It's actually 3 letters, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not just from the one guy anymore.
And then you've got Rich Tyler doing some stuff about talking about what he's done. So he talks about what's going on in Squadron 42 and how that's developing. So yeah, it is a big letter. I haven't had a chance to read it in detail. And if I try and do that now, I certainly wouldn't do it justice.
No, that's
but
fine.
there's some good stuff in there.
I will give it
I did say Paul put a call out that we should change the in-game law of Nick Kershaw's first jump point to actually blend in, at least the date, to blend in with when the actual first game jump point was made. And I like that idea. I think that's a nice tip of the hat to Mr. Trash. I'd still want it to be Nick Kershaw, finding the Kershaw jump point, but change it to, the what was the date that it happened?
Apparently there's sorry, if you heard that noise in the background, that's me checking my email. In Twitch chat, Architect saying there's a new sneak peek up. So they've dropped the weekly. I'm just trying to find it in my email. That's what those noises are. There's new emails coming through. I cannot see it. So obviously I got an email for calling all pilots and introducing the F7 Mark II, but I haven't got anything from the sneak peek. Can you drop a link, Architect? Can I give him permissions to drop a link? Wait, how do I do this on Twitch? Hang on. Timeout. No, I don't want a timeout. No, I don't want to ban him. I want to give him nope. I don't know how to give him permissions. Just if you're on Discord, Architect, shoot me a message on Discord if you'd be so kind. Or maybe send it to Lemming and Lemming will send it to me. Or just drop it and I don't know. We'll see. Alright. Just to Lemming dropped it. Okay, hang on. MailChimp link. Hold on. I can't open this. Here we go. Hey, there's the email. Sweet. Right. Sneak peek. Whoa, there's a lot of shit going on in that one. Ooh. We all wear masks. Subscriber flare? Zeno, part of the Zeno event, maybe? I don't know what to call that one. Yeah,
Mole.
very World
Mr.
War
Mole.
II.
That reminds me of Mr. Mole from early sci-fi movies. The kind of.
I get a very World War II vibe. Let's just put it that way. So yeah, and I get a big thing from I get a bit of an Aliens, StarCraft vibe from the big fan in the background. If anyone remembers one of the first cinematics in StarCraft, they had these big fans with lights on them, and obviously
it just reminded me of literally a mole drilling machine with, the villain Mr. Mole or Mole Man in front of it. That's all it reminded me of. But maybe I'm just showing my age.
Your age is showing, Algared? Yes.
Yeah, it's sad. My age is showing. I'm not even on camera.
Yeah. All right.
Now, don't you worry about people saying you're old, Al. You're a young'un. Oh, thank you, Mr. Hurston.
Mm.
So Zasurf has a question.
Yeah, go for it.
F7A Mark II versus an F8C.
F8. Oh, F8. I was about to say we just answered that one, but
I think the F8C will transfer. Eventually, will transfer F8, F7A because the F8C I think is a heavy fighter, isn't it? I'd have to go double check that.
So the F8C is heavy and the F7A is medium. I don't think there is a perfect ship, right? And I think it's different ships for different scenarios. And I think when you get into mixed combat, right, because that's essentially what it's going to be, right? So you're essentially looking at squadron battles at the end of the day. I don't think there is like I just sit there and go, everything's going to have a counter.
Yeah.
You know, and you put those two ships in the mix, and then all of a sudden, you know, both of them get attacked by a Polaris or a Dema, and all that goes out the window. Do you mean? So there's no like they talk for ages about there will be no meta. That's what they mean by no meta. There's just so many variables you can't have a meta. That's kind of what they're talking about.
It goes back to when you guys talked about, or when people, you know, when we used to talk about the landing ships are hopeless, and the military guys sat down and you did what's the best landing ship, what's the best troop deployment ship, and they went as they started looking at it, they went every one of these actually has a specific purpose.
All right, let me just get rid of this poll real quickly. We've got a couple of in-house things. So the Zeno threat won by 61%. I lost the one on Twitch because we took too long, but it was higher. But they both said Zeno, so I think people agree with us. Then Ninetales is about 20%, and Siege of Horizon was about 17%. So yeah, clearly Zeno's the more popular one. It wasn't just me in my head or you. And Lemming wanted to say something about the F8 versus F7. I assume that was you, Lemming.
Go for it, Lemming.
So yeah, chime in, mate, whenever you're ready. Lemming?
Yeah, so what most people were saying today was that the F7C Mark II is not great. What is great is the A upgrade. So for this particular event, assuming that you could finish the event, while the A is going to be nothing other than a fighter, it is going to be a pretty good fighter.
The other part I'd put into that is we don't know what armor and that's like either. So how can you like people talk about how I can get in my arrow and I can totally destroy an F8, right? We've heard that as well, right? But we don't have armor on the F8 yet. So how can you even? Do you know what I mean? We just don't. There's too many moving parts. We just don't know.
So the big thing that the A has going for it is it keeps the size 4 guns on the wings.
Yep.
So it has the size 4 guns, so it has more punching power than the F8C. Because the F8C just has size 3s on the wings. So, but the F8C has more size 2s. So it's a very complicated question.
So this is my feeling, right? And it is only just a feeling or theory, right? And you guys correct me if you think. So from everything I've heard from PvP players, right, is their thing is the lighter the fighter, generally the better, right? So light fighters beat everything else, right? But as soon as you go from a 1v1 scenario into a 2v2 scenario and stuff like that, that has diminishing returns because that light fighter is then weaker and then easier to hit, right? So my thinking is as soon as you went to, say, a 2 versus 2 combat, I reckon it would move in favor of armor and stuff. But I think the most balanced approach is going to be the medium ones because they can kind of they're slightly lighter, but they're not too heavy. But they've got a bit of armor, but not too much, so they're not too slow. I think eventually, just by the way logic dictates, the happy medium is going to be medium fighters. That's just my 2 cents. How that pans out,
which would make sense.
Yeah.
And while this is still a medium fighter, it is an overgunned medium fighter.
I
it's
agree.
been Drakified.
Yep. It had a lot of back in the day. It had like 6 size 1s or some shit. It had an astronomical large amount of small guns. It was really weird.
So there's also a bug. Right? It's seemingly a bug. There's debate on this whether or not it's a bug, but I guess you can mount the Super Hornet turrets onto the F7C Mark II.
Yep,
I don't know if it's a bug or not, but
no, that would make sense. The ball turret to ball turret.
Yeah, so
makes sense to me. And I even said that before. Like, how bad is it going to be to have the? Well, I think that's essentially why they're giving you the free upgrade, because essentially all you're getting is the chin mount and the ball mount. I guess it's as long as how do I put this? You'd have to physically have the hard points on the A, which would allow you. The thing I'm noticing, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, is almost every ship through variants is essentially the natural progression of that ship in game, right? So look, another example would be like the Idris series. You kind of get the P, you upgrade it to the K, then you upgrade it to the M. You know, that's kind of what I'm seeing, and it's this is no different. You know, you can kind of like buy an A, upgrade it all the way to a C, and things like that. I guess the difference to that would be, say, something like the Super Hornet. That is a completely different kind of ship.
So Hollington in Twitch chat just mentioned that the A gets a size 2 power plant.
This is true.
So we don't know exactly what that's going to mean, but we'll know soon.
Yeah, well, that could be interesting. Is it just missing one, or is it a physical hard point? And hard points is really what breaks it down, because if it is a hard point, then like the one I'd compare that to that you'd understand is the Apollo lemming with the like you're paying $25 to get some missile hard points essentially, and I think it was a bit of extra armor, right?
Yep.
But at the end of the day, is that worth it? Because again, you can just take the armor off, or you can take the missiles off, but you physically can't remove hard points, and that's a key point there. It's better to have an option than not have one. So yeah, it's going to be interesting.
I think, just from memory of the way they used to talk, size increases, you'd expect, at least based on what they used to say, that size 2 power plant on the F7A is a third more power than the 2 size 1 power plants, because they used to say 3 size 1s was equivalent to a size 2.
Yeah, back in the day.
I think that's actually changed now to 4 of a lower size equals 1 of the bigger size.
Damn.
So they used to say stuff, the 3s, but
again, everything's in flux and it's going to change. Like, how many times we've been saying over the years, like, don't buy something now based on now, because it's going to change.
Ignore the stats.
Yeah.
You've effectively got to ignore the technical data. It's got that stuff, because at the end of the day, when they balance it, that F7A is going to function and have the power that it needs to be at the position they wanted it above an F7C.
You're almost seeing that now with all the PvP players complaining because they're changing it, and that's what we've been talking about for years. Like, if you're buying it, buy it to have fun, or know more likely what it's going to be on release. So your now versus release that we talk about. Yeah.
I can remember Ben saying on one of the lunchtime streams, and this is going back 2014, that when you're buying a ship, don't worry about the matrix of lies. Don't worry about all the content in the matrix. Look at what the ship is touted as being doing. So look at the description of what the ship does, because that will tell you where the ship's going to end up sitting. I know that frustrated the crap out of me, because I wanted to know, okay, what am I buying? Not only what can it do, but how does it function? How does it weigh up against this ship? It's basically the same thing. So yeah, I get it, but I always found it frustrating. And
I do have to say,
camera X, because you are frozen.
No, I do have to say that the ship is pretty.
So you've actually seen it in game then?
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance yet.
I was watching another streamer. It's very pretty. It takes all the good parts and removes all the bad parts of the Hornet. like those weird hoses that used to flop around and maybe still do flop around on the old Hornets. I didn't see those at all.
I haven't jumped in game yet, but I'm willing to bet that CIG threw me one, so I will jump in and have a look after the stream. But again, you know how this works, Lemming. I've literally jumped up and woke up and jumped straight on stream. So
which is why I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll have a look in, and man, if it's just a real bum they dropped this. We planned 3 months out for this week's tier list show. So if you guys aren't aware, we're doing the tier list show tomorrow about this time, just before Captain's Table. It was the only time we could get where all of us could get in. And so, yeah, we'll be doing
it. We were planning it like from CitizenCon.
Yeah, well, pretty much, because it's so hard to get everyone together now. So yeah, basically we had to plan it that far out because we knew, like, it was basically had to be in January for Space Tomato, or it had to be delayed until March until we got back to Turkey. So we delayed until we got back to Turkey because the other two boys had stuff on, as did we. So yeah, long story short, that's what you're going to have this weekend. So we're probably going to miss this event because of it. But I don't know. The takeaway for me is it's an F7A. So I think the other part of this, Algared, is the show that you and I will probably be doing is a review on the F7A and F7C, a buyer's guide, unless you think different.
No, I think that's probably the go. An F7C buyer's guide, a F7A, F7C review. Yeah, so I could see a couple. It's nice.
Yeah, so
new content to play with.
Yeah, so we'll have a look at that and kind of give you our thoughts. But yeah, I know it's pretty because I've seen the F7A. You know when they do it at the upgraded one that they showed off a few times, Algared, at AIE and stuff. It is much prettier than the current model we have. So I have no doubt, like the F8, it'll be a flavor of the month. But I don't know, my $175 versus $300. Right, I think that kind of tells you where I'm going to fall on it, right? If you're going to buy one, the cheaper one's probably going to be the better option. And not only that, knowing it's a medium fighter and it sits in the middle, it's probably going to be more versatile, right? And that's just logic. You guys all know this. I'm just not telling you what you don't already know. But I think it's going to be more versatile because of those reasons. You know, nothing is perfect in this game, and there won't be anything like that. So if you want an I-win ship, you're never going to find it. You know, you're spending your money, be happy with what you're buying, and that's all really matters at the end of the day. I don't think I can say any more than that, unless you guys want to add anything else to that. No?
It's just a fighter.
It's just a fighter. Yeah, yeah, that's the other way to look at it too. Don't buy fighters. Yeah. There's a reason why this event, the reason why it's all being hyped up. They are trying to get you to buy stuff. But again, if you are worried, here's the same takeaway we almost always have. Buy CCU and sit on it. If you're unsure.
And, I mean, it's working. They made $500,000 in 2 hours today. So.
And Dojoko, I'm going to stop you there because Dojoko on YouTube has just dropped a $20 super chat. He says, enjoy Bar Citizen. So enjoy Bar Citizen X and have a drink on me. I wish you could join you. And then he gives a question. He says, would you expect us to see an entry-level profession ship for a larger one, like Expanse before the Galaxy with its refinery, or Lib before the Kraken?
Not at Invictus, but maybe at AIE. I'm actually surprised we haven't heard more about the MCV, to be honest with you. Yeah, that'd be on the cards for base building, I reckon, at the end of the year. What do you think, Algared? The MCV for the end of the year?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised for the SC, the base building vehicle to come out with that, if that's indeed what it was. It looked like it. But I would also expect, and this is where it gets hard because of the way they've moved to the family of ships. The smaller ships we know are easier for them to make. But as you start going to the larger ships, and you know, at what point does a ship become more economical to build with other big ships?
I think we can safely say there's an RSI ship of some description coming. One of those unannounced ships.
is an RSI.
I think all of us would bet money on it being an RSI of some description coming this year.
To me, it makes sense because they're working on RSI ships. So they're already working on that library. They've got people working on the design language. It makes sense for it to be for an RSI ship to be coming this year, even if it's not one of the big ones they're talking about. And I'm not talking Polaris at this point.
We're talking new unannounced ship is what we're talking about. Yeah. Lemming,
so,
you're going to say?
Yes. So one thing that they did say is that it may be easier for them to build a smaller ship, but it's even easier for them to build a modular. I'm sorry, a modular of the Galaxy. So I would actually expect the Galaxy Refinery to come in prior to the Expanse.
That was
the question, right?
So me and Agrabah were talking about this only a day or two ago, and one of the reasons the questions that come up a few times is what would they work on after RSI, right? And then the biggest number is actually MISC. And I said to Agrad, though, you and I both know the Endeavour is last. So why would you work on MISC when you know you've got to work on the Endeavour at the end? So we actually think that if you kind of look at it, it's more likely to be Anvil. We know there's a lot of ships missing from Anvil. We've also got other manufacturers like Zeno that just don't have enough ships. So I don't know. It's a really up in the air thing to go. What are they going to work on next?
Yeah, and as we were talking, you even raised the idea that if you wanted to work on MISC, you could actually do Mirai because that's kind of that.
Oh yeah, I did too. Yeah, you're right.
So there was that idea as well. So
that would allow you to kind of cross-pollinate a little bit. You could work on some of the MISC stuff and some, because they're similar. They're not exactly the same, but I guarantee you there's a bit of crossover there. So that was my way for them to go, right, let's have our cake and eat it too and kind of work on two at the same time.
So this may be kind of a spicy take, and it kind of is what it is. But I could see the Endeavour being worked on at the same time as the Holly, because there's no reason to not work on them at the same time.
Yep, but we know because of all the different gameplays that are associated with that thing, that is the last. They've even said so. John Cruz said it'll be the last ship they ever work on.
But the base could be in prior to all of those gameplays being ready.
But then you're working on a really big ship, and there's a lot of unknowns. And then if they have to rework stuff on a really big ship, they just don't want those unknowns. I'm telling you now, they have learned, do not make mistakes on big ships, because then you get things like, and I'll give you a really simple example, the Starfarer. Now that's not even half the size of what the Endeavour will be, but do you know how long it's going to take them to rework that? Reworking the Constellation's been reworked like 2 or 3 times at this point, and that needs a rework as well. It all just adds up to time. So the further you can kick something down the road, especially when it's got unknown associated gameplay with it, the far more likely they are to do so. I guarantee you that Endeavour is the last ship they work on, because it's just got so much more gameplay than anything else. And you pull all the gameplay out that it's got, and some of it's in now, some of it's not in now. Like, look at agriculture. It's the only agriculture ship at all, period. So they're going to work out what agriculture's got to be and everything associated with that and all that. Like, and you run that through, they've got to have all that gameplay before they can even start to look at the Endeavour. And it's just so far away.
I tend to think when we look at the agricultural aspect of the Endeavour, but I think we'll see them work on agriculture as a profession in the outposts before we actually see it.
Absolutely.
Done on the ship, because they'll be able to play with it, build that
test
loop out,
it,
and then
100%. Yep. And again, you know as well as I, we've been saying this before. Using the room system, a room is just a container now. Is it a ship? Is it a building? Is it an underground bunker? So that also allows that entire ship just to fall under the room system. They can literally.
We already know that we've got rare outposts.
Well, they can essentially put out everything they need and then just build the ship around it.
Yep.
To fit.
And so, because we've got rare outposts, because we do have farming type stuff, that means once they put that in and we're actually growing crops and harvesting crops and doing that stuff, more of the player base, that will give you an indication, okay, they're working on that. That moves the Endeavour even closer. When scanning's in, the Endeavour does scanning, farming, medical, component adjustment. The only thing of all those things that really does, we've got in any forming game at the moment, is medical. And that's still in its infancy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can't see the endeavour being done anytime soon. It's still way off because of so many gameplay loops we just don't know anything about.
Yeah. That's again why you see them reworking a lot of smaller ships, but you very rarely see them reworking something larger. It's also, I think, why we've not seen a lot of the bigger ships in production, because they just take so many people to do. The only ones we've really seen are related to Squadron 42. And let's be honest, Polaris, I'd be willing to bet money, and I think you'd agree with me, Algared, the Polaris is more than likely going to be in episode 2 because they're working on it now.
Yeah. Well, even look at the Idris. How much time is spent on the Idris? And it's had to go through 2 or 3 rebuilds because, you know, they built one model and then realised, oh crap, we used the wrong Hornet. We used the old small Hornet, not the current Hornet, which meant the ship had to change. That gave them a nightmare.
Yep. And they're going to have learned from that for the next time around, and you know, plan for extra space and yeah.
You know, so yeah, lots of things. Question.
Yep, go for it.
Okay, so Ben Frick, with the unannounced ships in the pipeline, what role would you like it to fulfill?
Isn't that the question we just answered? No.
Oh, that was. So we were talking. What company would the unannounced ship be? What role would it be?
Again, knowing kind of what we learned talking at the start of the year, multiplayer foundation stuff. So I think that's why base building's coming in. Yeah, it's a tough one. We also know raids are coming in. We also know bounty hunters coming in, data heists coming in. So again, it tends to be the ships are associated with the gameplay. So I'd point them in those directions. Ship to go along with that. And so you could actually look at raids, and I could even see data heists falling under Invictus Launch Week. I don't know about you, Algared, but
oh well, I could see certainly. I could see those raid missions they talked about a while ago being part of the mission with the Zeno threat out at the moment. So part of it will be stopping Zeno threat, crack the systems, or you know, I could see them part of it being delivering items to X because Zeno threat's trying to solve. I could see them incorporating everything that goes on. All those small side missions or anything else they've got, and put them into the big thing. But yeah, so I think what the new ship will depend on which profession they're working on. So if they decide they want to do building, it'll be a building ship. If they want to do a manufacturing ship, if they want to do
well, it's like when they told us bounty hunting was coming last year, but it didn't end up dropping. I think it more than likely drop this year. But we've got ships to that effect as well. Like we've got the Zeus coming at CitizenCon, and that'll have the marquee mark and things like that. So I'd be really surprised if we don't get some form of bounty hunting this year, considering how much it's been delayed. You know, we know the Apollo's coming. You know, I don't think there's much more room for medical ships there, but you correct me if you think I'm wrong. But you know, what are the other ones? This is how you and I work. This is just like a mini session of me and you trying to work this shit out.
Yep, just trying to nut things out. Just like you said, we've already got we've got a capital medical ship in the Endeavour. We've basically a hospital. We've got medical ships all over the place. So I don't think it'd be a medical ship. Like, yes, we don't have the large medical ship in the that RSI ship, which has just eluded me.
Apollo?
The Apollo and even the bigger one.
Galaxy.
The Galaxy. Thank you. The Galaxy and the Apollo. We've got them. They've been announced. They're there, but we don't have them in game yet. But we're talking unannounced ships, so it's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be a medical ship. Because we've got.
Sorry, Keisha on Twitch just said Raelian. Yes, they are working on the Raelian straight after the Santoki Eye, but considering it took them twice as long as they thought to work on the Santoki Eye, and they thought they were going to have the Santoki Eye for Invictus, I doubt that we would see the Raelian to the very least to the end of the year. Okay,
and we're talking unannounced ships. So
that's announced.
And we're
that's
not
true.
We're not talking Invictus. We're just saying, hey, what unannounced ships do you want? What role do you want it to fill? So
RSI has to be. We know they're working on RSI. So yeah, the key takeaways will be RSI and professions they're looking to come out with. I just don't see them doubling down on another bounty handling ship, knowing the Zeus Marky Mark is a thing. The medical, again, RSI, I've got a medical ship, so I don't see that either. The only one kind of left is a data heist.
A data runner.
Or a data runner of some description, and you've essentially got the Herald and you've got the MSR. There is room in there for a medium data runner. The only other one that technically is a data runner is the Raven. So you've got two kind of small ones and a large. So there is room for a medium data runner. We also know that there is that. Well, there's really that one unannounced ship in the silhouette image that's some kind of small ship that's kind of unannounced. So like the smaller Zeus or whatever manufacturer it ends up being. But let's be honest, the biggest bet is that it's RSI because that's the manufacturer they're working on this year. Doesn't mean it is RSI, but knowing that that's the main manufacturer, it makes the most sense. And what was the one? The bear claw, the bear cat.
Yep, the bear claw, which is a fighter in war, I think.
So Paul talked about that. I talked about that with Paul, and he literally says it does take cargo. So it's a combat ship that does cargo. So cargo's always an easy one for them to do because it just works. As in that gameplay is already there. So yeah, I don't know. It's really tough to nut this stuff out. Again, we were going to do an episode on this last weekend before my PC hit the bed.
CM Mac says, what about ground vehicles? And he talks about ground vehicles or mine vehicles. And I suppose the reason we weren't talking vehicles is because the question is specifically ships. Now, there's always that.
There is two unannounced vehicles on.
There are two unannounced vehicles as well.
Yeah,
and that Paul, you and I have suggested and postulated that an Ursa medical ambulance would be perfect.
Again, medical would definitely be on the cards. I think we know that the repair's coming and bounty hunting, like a combat bounty hunter catcher thing. I'm thinking like like the dog pound car, but for humans. Just like, can you imagine like the like where they sit on the side of the Ghostbusters car, but like they're like, drink. Yeah, that'd be funny as hell.
Yeah, that the person. Toss a net on them, yes.
I do want to say, Citizen Scott said something interesting in chat that I completely agree with. He was replying to something. He said, everything is in its infancy. Everything. That's why, to me, the most interesting thing from the CR's letter from the chairman was the upcoming roadmap to Road to Release 1.0. Yeah, so the roadmap is now going to start to reflect 1.0 release of Star Citizen. Yeah, absolutely. That is a big takeaway. That kind of tells you how much they're starting to work on the game. And this whole breaking into the dam thing that Algared and I have been talking about for the last, 7 or 8 years, if you see the amount of stuff that comes into the game this year and you just start seeing that ramping up, you're going to start to realize what Algared and I have been saying about how they weren't really working on Star Citizen. They just weren't, because they were all working on Squadron.
And the stuff they were working on in Star Citizen was generally the back end stuff, the under the hood stuff, the stuff
overflow,
that makes it work.
Essentially overflow, stuff they could easily just port over, And when they put all hands on, they moved a lot of people over to Squadron just to push that thing out the door in the end, didn't they? For like the last 2 years.
And then how often were they working on the tools to enable them to do stuff? A lot of the stuff. There were years when it was quiet and people would say, there's nothing in Star Citizen. And CIG come out and say, we've been working on these tools. And people say, yeah, but what does it get us? Those tools and that back-end stuff actually enable them to do the stuff now that pushes things faster. So I know it didn't sound like great stuff, but it was always great stuff that was being done. But yeah.
So someone was asking me what the Marky Mark is on Twitch chat. So it's called the Zeus Mark II, but it's also called the Zeus Mark II MR. So I just call it the Marky Mark, as in Mark II, and then it's called the MR, which stands for Mark. So I call it the Marky Mark. It's an Aussie stupidity thing, don't worry. And it's me. It's a me stupidity thing.
X being X.
Yeah.
Just suck it up.
But I'm not wrong in what I'm saying, and it's just a little nickname that stuck because it's easier to say Marky Mark than it is to go Zeus Mark II MR. I feel like a robot when I talk like that. Anyway.
Yeah, you just say Zeus MR.
Yeah.
Because we don't have the Mark 1s in game, it's just a Zeus. But yeah. Nova 42 says, statement. Congratulations on a new convert. Well, thank you. Who was our new convert? I'm putting together a chain to upgrade my Vulcan to a Crucible. Ah, that's what. Well, welcome to the cult. Welcome to the cult.
Yeah.
Got him. Yeah. Yep. With that, I have a question about the Crucible. What are the loaners? Oh.
That's a really good one.
And I can't recall, but let me double check.
I can do it on here so everyone else can see how good. Hang on.
Yep. Okay, you do it there so everyone can see.
Let me Google that for you. Star Citizen.
Yep. Loaner Matrix.
Loaner Matrix. Is this up on screen? No, it is not. Hang on. Alright. So this is what you Google. Star Citizen Loaner Matrix. Loanership Matrix.
On the first thing that pops up, boom, and then scroll down.
Yep. And we are looking for, what was it? Crucible.
It's halfway down.
Constellation Andromeda.
Yep.
That does not line up with that ship at all.
Nope. Doesn't line up with that ship at all.
But what would you line it up with? I'd go into medical, to be honest with you. I'd probably chuck them a Pisces and because it's Anvil. And that's a tough one.
It is a tough one.
I'd probably add a Pisces
for it is the Andromeda.
Yeah, I'd probably go an Andromeda and a Pisces because that's like still $100 cheaper than that. So, yeah.
But with the Andromeda,
that's it. No, Hollington's got in one SRV and a Pisces. That's what I'd give him.
Something like that. But they do update that as it goes. I still think the Endeavour is still got the best loaners for value.
You're clicking on the wrong buttons. Sorry.
Because the loaners for the Endeavour are, I think, from memory, the Starfarer and the Cutlass Red. So you get a medical ship, and you get a big ship, and the value of those two ships together is more than the current price of the Endeavour. So you get two ships that are in game that you can use, but give you more value from the way they sell them than the Endeavour itself. So I always like that one. It's one of the few ships I would recommend if you've got building a CCU chain to actually. It's one of the ones you're applying it because if you got it, you know you want it. It's the end grain ship, and you get ships that are more valuable than at present. So, but yeah, so CCU for the Crucible is the Andromeda. And if you just go to the Star Citizen Matrix, Loaner Matrix, that will always give you the update. Nova 42 has another question. Oh, no, it's the same question because he just did it on both servers.
Gotta make sure I've got it in. Right.
Yeah, I gotta make sure it's there. That's just proof for you. But we do see both. We get them both. We put them in order, and the YouTube one came in first, so that's the one that got answered first. Ben Frick, question. If you want an F7A or the Super, is it cheaper to buy the F7A, so F7 I assume you're saying the F7C Mark II, I guess, and do the Overdrive or buy the Super when it's available?
I'm actually kind of surprised there's not a kind of an F7A variant of the Super Hornet. You know what I mean?
But why?
Because I want two. I want 2 seats, Algared. I'm a greedy person.
Yes, but the F7C, the F7C M, or the Super Hornet, is the civilian is basically the closest you get to an F7A.
Yes, but you've got an F7C Super Hornet. Why isn't there F7A Super Hornet?
Or Super Hornet is. I'm going to try and explain it.
Yeah, don't try and explain it. I'm right. Just say you're right and we'll move on. Yeah.
No, you're wrong. It's the update. It's the upgrade. Now, if you were asking why isn't there an F7C Mark II Super Hornet,
that's what I meant.
I'll get you behind that question.
Oh, F7A Super Hornet, but yeah.
But the F7A is just the next model. I
don't know. Maybe they'll get around to doing it at a later date.
Yeah,
because it essentially needs another different physical model. That's why.
It would need to be the upgrade that takes you closest to the F8. So the F7A Super
But is it
Hornet
now?
would be,
Is it now another $50 on top of the $195 to get to a 2-seater Super Hornet?
Of course it would be.
Yeah. So that really puts the Super Hornet in a different size class now.
So I think the Super Hornet really becomes the trainer.
Well, you put it in the same price ranges that you're putting in the same price range as the Aries, and the I'm having a brain fart, Scorpius, and they're both heavy fighters.
Yep,
that's crazy to me. And it's a medium fighter that they're just because it's got a second seat. Yeah, I don't think so. I can't justify that, not at all. I can't really justify much more than $10, $15, let alone $50. But you know, what do I know?
It's a fighter, and it's under $200.
Hey, Algared, I've just realised you and I are the Ministry of Truth. They are the Ministry of Lies. I've just realised it. Anyway,
Ministry of Truth.
Yeah. Well, sorry. So for the people that don't know, I call the Ministry of Lies the marketing team. Anyway. Right.
So it's we're very, very Orwellian. The Ministry of Truth. Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Very scary that.
I don't know. There's a stream title there sometime. Welcome to the Ministry of Truth. When we're doing an Invictus stream or something like that, I'll use that title sometime. Right.
All right. So Rusty Pigeon Gaming channel says, question. Thanks for the content, guys. We're glad we can provide it. What do you think if you compare the ships like the F8 and the F7, like the firepower, have they...
I've got to interrupt you. They've found you. The cops are coming. I can hear them. They're coming.
Yep. I'm sorry.
Run! All right, keep
yeah, it's obviously sort of that I'm a terrorist type comment that I made the other week.
Yeah.
So
what are we up to? Thanks for the content, guys. What do you think about compare the ships like the F8 and the F7 and the firepower they have on the alien ships for future alien ships to come? I think we've kind of talked about this 3 or 4 times already today, which is, you know, pretty common when this stuff drops. There's a lot of missing parts. I think I can kind of leave it with that. It kind of comes down to your own play style. Are you playing with on your own? Or most of us are going to be playing with other people. So for me, it's going to be the medium heavy stuff, I think, at the end of the day. But the light fighter seems to be where it's at the moment. But we just don't have those big fights, you know. And if you actually talk to the PvSPers, at the moment, the ship of choice is actually a Hornet when you're in team battles. So that automatically kind of speaks to the logic of it, that the medium ships are going to be the kind of sweet spot.
Oh, it's been the same with, large, medium, small ships in every profession. You tend to think the medium ship will kind of have that crossover. So
is Ree asking the question, saying I mean that alien ships would compare to such a power for NPCs fights. So will they be on par with each other? Yeah, absolutely. So a medium alien fighter should be on par with a medium alien, a human fighter, absolutely.
If you look at the development of the Hornet series and compare it to the Vandal, you actually get this progression of increase. So humans encounter Vandal, we fight the Blade, Gladius kills the Blade, Vandal introduces Scythe, Scythe defeats the Gladius. We bring out the Hornet. Hornet beats for Scythe. They bring out the Glaive. The Glaive beats for Hornet. We bring up the F7A, and it keeps cycling out. So those ships theoretically are supposed to compare. You see the same with the Jean ships.
Yeah.
So you've got medium heavy fighters in there. They will compare. There'll be different aspects. So they might fly slightly differently. They might be more agile. They might have less armor, but they're going to balance. They'll be balanced to do the same job. And that's about all we can really say at the moment.
All right. Question: Has CIG? This is from Benjamin Frick, who says, "Has CIG put any vision of what an e-warfare will be gameplay-wise?" I think the only real thing they kind of went into was this VR thing on the Sentinel, so like a special VR HUD, and the other thing was that it had like hacking missiles that would essentially land on your HUD and kind of provide an antenna can make it easier to connect to your ship, and then they could remotely hack and try and control your ship. But they also talked about like hacking backwards and forwards between capital ships and things like that. So the fight won't just be physical, it'll also be this, they're trying to unlock our airlocks, they're trying to disable our shields, blah blah blah. So there are backdoors into people's systems and stuff like that. So it's fighting on multiple fronts essentially. Unless you want to add to that, Algared?
No, that's pretty much it. That's Citizen Scott has a question. Do you think that it is a better event structure than the previous run Idris F8C event? I think so. Can't say how it's going because.
Well, I can tell you straight off the bat it already is, because it felt way super exclusive last time. And the way that this one looks is it's more of a community event. It's like, as a community, you can unlock this upgrade.
Yep.
That's way cooler. And not just going, there are 4 F8s of F7As and what was it last time? The Platinum. I don't know how many they gave away, but they didn't give away that many, right? Maybe 10, and again, it instantly became very biased because they were given away by devs, but like, let's just say for an example, and not to be, I'm bitching because of where I live, but here in Australia, a lot of you just had no chance to get them because they weren't on the Australian server, or they were, do you know what I mean? That we were asleep, things like that. So it is what it is, right? But again, if you're going to do something, try and at least make it fair. And this makes it a lot fairer because then everyone can access. It'd be the same. The other way I'd put it, Agri, is remember the one with where you had to get 50 kills in PvP to get the Vandal mask?
Yep.
And so the entire community combated that by grouping up in these massive groups and just killing each other over and over by standing in front of a ship and getting shot. So you got your 50 kills in about 2 hours instead of actually having to go out and play. And the PvP people were livid because they wanted to kill people, but nobody wanted to do it because they were just getting the kill.
Well, they did it. They wanted to just. And I've got to admit, but the Congo line, as it was called, it brought the community together.
It really did.
If you're after an event for the community, the event has to be one that brings the community together.
It worked, just not the way they intended.
It may not have been what they intended. They may have wanted it to be this combat event, but nobody really wanted a combat event in the way they were doing it.
Yeah. Can you imagine how the PvP people would react if it was an event that was like somehow exclusive? Like, you've got to collect 20, Picos. You've got to collect 20 whatever. Or it's a medical based mission or something like that wasn't PvP.
And you've got to role play it. Yeah.
And then after that, so after they did the Vandal mask, the next time an event came around there was like combat options and non-combat options. They started to learn that you got to tailor it to different parts of the community. They are learning, right? Like just like us, no matter who you are in life, you've got to learn how to present stuff. And they are game developers. They're not event coordinators and things like that. So as time goes on, they are definitely learning. And I think you can even see the difference between the F8C and the F7 event, and night and day. They've learned they've got to make it community based and right across the board. If you want to give away exclusive skins like that, I think that you like the Platinum. that they gave away. The platinum should have been a skin that you can pay for, but maybe it's a large amount, like $50, right? But you could have got it for free from a CIG person that met in game, you know, or that I don't have a problem with. But literally gating it so you can't get it if you don't meet a dev is a bit shit. It's because it just rules 99% of us out straight away, and that feels exclusionary, not inclusive. And that's just, well,
And the idea of the event, the concept and the original idea they had looked great.
Yeah.
It did, you know, you read it and you went, yeah, this is great.
It sounded
but when you
great.
actually started to apply it, you went,
It was like the Idris event, like last month. Like you intend to have some Idrises in this Idris event, do you not? And yeah, yeah. They're learning. They're learning. I'll get there.
Okay, so Hollington has a question. With the F7A now being given to players, put it given into players' hands, how possible is an F8C to F8A upgrade for completing Squadron 42?
I don't think the final ship in Squadron is going to be. I think the final ship is the F8 Lightning, isn't it? So that's the one.
Yeah, so that's the question. So we've currently got the F8C, the civilian version. So the question is,
well, you're talking about
an A. Do you think we'll get an
right? So
A?
No, I think they've kind of made it kind of clear that the military version is off the table. And the main reason for that is you've got single player versus multiplayer, and they have different requirements, and they don't want you to have a too powerful a ship. It's got to, again, fall into that rock paper scissors, and if they give you something that falls outside that rock paper scissors, then they've got to up other ships to match it and stuff like that. So that's probably why. A single player environment overpowered doesn't matter in single player. It does in multiplayer.
I think that's why we probably wouldn't get the F8A. Whereas the F7A is older tech, it's not as good as the top end, so it still fits in the balance. So, yeah. All right, next question. Oh, Arthur, welcome. And thank you for super chat.
Thank you, Arthur. Like clockwork, mate, every week without fail.
Always nice, always appreciated. That's like buy us a coffee.
All right.
Ply hour with good coffee.
All right. Question from BC on PC who says, question, can I be on a Fix My Fleet, and what is your favorite Star Wars ship?
Yes, you can be on a Fix My Fleet. If you go to the channel.
Just send Algared a message and he'll have a look at it. Bang.
Yep.
I'll give him work. There you go.
Hit us up. We will, well, basically, that's what it is, you know.
Yeah.
End of the message, we'll organise a time and we'll get you on a Fix My Fleet. If we can arrange a time that suits. That's generally how it works.
Generally, it's also as long as we can learn something from it or teach the audience something. So, yeah.
So we may not, so we may not do a video.
But we'll definitely help you in the background at the very least. Star Wars ship, Algared. What's your favorite Star Wars ship? I got a couple, actually. Like, I'm a fan of the B-Wing. I'm a fan of Slave, too.
Probably, I do like the Slave. Because it was just weird. Probably an X-Wing.
Okay. I'm probably going to go.
I can't really say I've got a favourite. It's going Star Wars.
They've all got cool styles, and they're definitely, you know, one of the guys that worked on the more recent Star Wars films, he worked at CIG as well, like he did the Reliant as an example, and you can clearly see that that's in Ahsoka's ship as well. Like they're very similar, and he worked on both of them.
Well, you look at the Mandalorian ship.
Yep, the Razor Crest and the Cutlass. Yep. Yeah,
that was made by the same guy who did the Cutlass.
I think so. Yeah.
You know, so you see the crossover there. So yeah, But I don't really have a favourite Star Wars ship. Same as I don't really have a favourite Star Trek ship.
They're all good in different ways.
I probably my favourite ships tie more in with B5 because they were more unique. They felt different. So I like the Babylon 5 Earth destroyers because you actually had the rotating hull that was how they generated their gravity because they, you know, Earth tech was subpar compared to the aliens. I really liked the way the Star Furies flew, but and they were kind of an X-wing, but they weren't an X-wing. They were kind of X-wings that were squashed and stubby rather than long and sleek. So, yeah.
All right. Nova A42 says, "Was my question answered? I was buffering hell, so I don't know." Yeah, we did answer it. It was the one on the Crucible, Volcanic Crucible.
And it was Crucible's ship is an Andromeda.
Yep, that was the answer. Right. Citizen Scott says, "You guys read the letter from the chairman. Not gonna cover that." It's not exactly exciting for us to read while you guys listen to us read. So Agrid did go over it and had a quick look at it. And he did talk about it earlier. So yeah.
Did talk about it a little bit, but for me, there was still too much in it for me to actually digest and be able to put out. And just reading it would be boring.
Yeah, we don't enjoy someone just sitting there reading, so we assume that you guys don't like someone there sitting there reading. So yeah, we don't waste your time.
Yep.
We'll have a look at it and tell you what's the
and maybe it'll be an episode, but yeah.
That one, the next one we've already answered, Agrid, because I cut him to the top of the line. So X15 says, "Didn't they add a jump drive to the F7A?"
I do believe they did.
Yes, I do believe they did. And then he asked that again.
The answer is yes, it has a size 1, which is the same as the F7C Mark II. So the F7C Mark II has a jump drive. I think the F7C Mark I had a jump drive.
But does it have a I always get these two confused. So there's a quantum drive and the jump drive.
Yep.
So it can go through the jump gates?
Yep. If you've got a jump drive, you can do the jump drive.
Right,
and you can't. So it's got both. If you've got a jump drive, you've basically got a quantum drive.
I remember for the longest time that wasn't going to have that.
No.
So yeah.
I kind of hope that means that the snub ships will actually get a quantum drive.
Yeah.
Because I've always thought, you know, okay, if your snub ships don't have a quantum drive, then your carrier-borne fighters shouldn't have a jump drive because it's the next stage up. So,
all right, just a heads up, we're getting down to the last few questions here. So if you do want to get a question, chuck one in. We've got about 50 minutes left, and we don't have 50 minutes. We don't have that much time, that much in questions. So if you do,
I remember last time you said that, and
yeah, I'm telling you, I'm looking at them now. Some of them are already answered as well. So yeah, just letting you guys know. All right, Enduralist Indominus says, "Will the F7A Hornet Mark II be better than the Harbinger?" That's like saying, is an orange better than a banana? They are two different ships for two different roles. You got a torpedo bomber versus a fighter. That I don't know how to answer that because it depends on the scenario.
I think the question would be, would a Gladiator Mark II be better than a Harbinger? And
I got a better way you could answer it is, what am I going to get more use out of? And you're probably going to get realistically more use out of the Hornet because the bomber's more of a niche. You know, so you're going to get more everyday use out of the Hornet. Not saying it's better. I'm just saying it depends how you want to, what's the better value for money. If I had to pick and they were the only two options I had, I'd go with the Hornet because I'd get more daily use out of it.
Yep. Although, if I had to pick a Hornet or a Gladiator, I'd probably go with Gladiator because it's such a fun ship to fly. It's clunky. It's a fun ship, but it's clunky. But yeah.
The next one
would I get more use out of it? Probably not. But Such a good ship.
Yeah, we've done that next one as well, Algared. It was a super chat.
Yep. So we have.
Yep. All right. You go.
MC McD says they mentioned they were working on the Apollo. If that is old info, will we get it for Invictus or later this year?
So at CitizenCon, they showed off this, what Algared calls the yellow curtain or the yellow silhouette video, and the Apollo. Actually, I think it was before that. Actually, wasn't it? It was in the ISC. They showed the grey boxing of the Apollo.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely coming. The second part of his question is, will we get it for Invictus? We could. We just don't know. And at this point, there's a couple of ships that are just moving out of grey box and stuff like that. So definitely this year, I'd assume. Again, being RSI, but where it lands is
where it lands. We don't know.
Yeah,
and it's hard because I don't recall seeing its silhouette being in the yellow curtain.
It wasn't in the yellow curtain, but it was definitely on the ISC.
John Crew did say these ships and more this year, so
yeah,
it was on.
It was on the ISC, Algared here. I bet you I can find an image of someone's thumbnail or some shit in which. Am I in the right thing? Yes, I am. Right. See this here, this blue one here. So this was this is a Reddit post. I'll just get a date so you can get a rough idea. So this was posted 5 months ago, and that was in the today's sprint report. So it was on this episode of ISC, the San Tokiyai one or Sprint Tokiyai, and there's a picture of it. So I hope that answers your question. But that's where it was 5 months ago, and that was that white box or grey box? I'm pretty sure it was white box. Doesn't say here, but someone in chat will let us know. It was either white box or grey box, but the point is, yeah, it definitely moved on from that.
I think the last update we got was it was finishing white box and entering gray box, and I haven't seen anything in the monthly reports since that.
That's pretty much what I remember, something to that effect, yeah. But again, how many people are working on it, things like that. So
I think the fact that they're working on RSI ships this year and they're working on the larger RSI ships this year, even though it wasn't one of the three they mentioned, it is a fairly large ship. It falls closer into a realms of possibility than, say, if it was an anvil ship. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I haven't heard anything new. I don't know if you guys have, but yeah.
Yeah. No,
possible.
People in chat are saying the same thing. So last date was Apollo in white box from P. Yeah.
JC Kaboom. So the F7A upgrade kit is a Hornet Mark 1 now. Or can it be applied and give an extra Hornet, or give the extra Hornet? Don't know.
Extra Hornet.
So this is one of the things that they were talking about this morning. Well, when you guys were sleeping, if you have the old Veterans Day upgrade,
right,
it is being turned into an F7A Mark 1. And that's going to be the only way to get that ship.
Yeah.
So it makes it still a unique ship.
Yeah, it makes it actually puts the rarity up by a shit ton. But it sounds like the Mark II is going to be the better variant, though, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So
the Mark II will be a better variant, but the F7A Mark 1 will be rarer, hence Steve, which may mean those grey market site ones are going to go up in price.
Yeah.
Which is I would really like it to be something.
It's like a $20, $170 ship.
Yeah, I would have loved it for that to kill it.
Kind of doesn't. It doesn't. Oh yeah.
I did miss a question. So Crispy had a question. They said, "Will the Mark II get Ghost and Tracker variants?" I think eventually, because they can sell them off and make money.
Yeah, they just have Mark IIs of the Ghost and Mark IIs of the Tracker. Yeah. Can't see why not. And I think the same thing will happen with the Super Hornet eventually. But they've got to be physically modelled, so it takes time. And they obviously weren't needed for Squadron.
Matt P.
Yep, go for it.
In the context of fitting into my CCU chains, are there ever warbond upgrades to the arrow, terrapin, or blade? Or perhaps an easier question: are there any ships? Are there ships that never get discounted? I don't think I've ever seen one for a blade, but I could be wrong.
There are CCU. There's been CCUs, and I'm pretty sure there was a warbond to the blade at one point, wasn't there, Lemmy? From my recollection, there was one. I remember there being one.
I don't remember if it was the blade or if it was the $270 one.
Yeah.
All those alien ships they all run together for me. Regarding the Terrapin, it had a warbond CCU that was absolutely awful. It was like a 5% warbond.
Another way to look at this, though, is it doesn't really matter if there's a direct discounted warbond CCU to what you want, as long as there's enough all the way along to get savings before you jump off to it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter.
And that's the other thing. Sometimes a warbond might be a crappy warbond, but it might be a warbond that fits perfectly to your chain, in which case, for you, that crappy warbond is an absolutely perfect warbond because it fills the gap. Yeah. So it's never just warbonds that are good for you.
Yeah. What Lemming means when he says that is basically it's not getting a good saving, is what he means by that. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Just as a standalone, I mean, everybody's case is going to be a little bit different. Yeah. Like, I would argue that the price increase of the Hurricane last year was a better deal than a Terrapin Warbond, because it makes the Hurricane 210 versus the 220 of the Terrapin.
Yep. Absolutely. It's what saves you more money at the end of the day. You're looking for savings just to draw down that overall price. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Matt P. Is that the next one? Nope. Yep. Warring Pro. Yeah. All right. What are your favorite sussers and ships interiors? Oh, that's an interesting one. I'm looking for space mobile home that is large and more versatile than the Cutter Rambler. The only other one like that I can think of off the top of my head is the Beta, Mustang Beta, but that's a downgrade from the Rambler. Mobile interior.
Favorite large ship. I do like taking out the Connies. Probably the best interior ship for a home. In the next size up is probably the Drake ship. The
Cutter.
No, the
somebody in Twitch chat just said the Corsair, and I agree with that.
Oh, it
is a really nice inside.
Look, at the end,
the Corsair, because it's got the bedrooms. I think the 600i will eventually be good.
I would not be picking a ship based on a mobile home. I would be picking a ship. Looks are one thing, right? And functions another. But at the end of the day, it's the gameplay that you want as well. So the bigger you go, the more less generalist they become, right? So even looking at the ships that we've kind of mentioned there, like let's just look at the ones around the Corsair to give a quick brief example, right? So you got the Corsair, the Connie, the Redeemer, and the MSR. Just the four I'm going to pick, right? You can see two of those, or three of them even, lean more towards combat, and then you get less cargo in the least amount of cargo in the Redeemer, a little bit less again in the Corsair, and then more in the Andromeda, and then the most in the MSR. So you are essentially almost like pulling levers, and as you pull one down, the other's pulling itself up. So you've only got a certain amount of points you essentially going to spend, but it allows you to tailor it to what you want. So again, if you lean more towards combat, lean to more to one of those ships. And at the end of the day, I think both these guys would agree with me. Let's say the Corsair has a really great interior right now, but the Connie, when they come back around to eventually rework that, it'll have a much better interior as well, yeah, guys? So there is a now versus release element as well.
I mean, they've said that the Connie bears Chris's name.
Yeah.
It is not going to be bad at the end of the day. It's just not.
So what I'm trying to get at, sorry to cut you off, Algared. What I'm trying to get out there is look at the gameplay and functionality way more before you look at how things look and feel, because they're all subject to change. Sorry, Algared, go ahead.
I was going to say, I've got a couple of favourite ships for the interior. So one is the 890 jump. I really like the way that's laid out. There are elements that I hate about it. So the stairwell is just too narrow for for what it sells itself as being.
They all have pros and
I like
cons.
the way you've got the passenger area, the work area, and the decor is different. I like elements in that. I really like it. It's a place where you can do stuff. I like the
but none of them are perfect though. So like,
no, none of them's perfect. I like the
so like looking at the Corsair. The Corsair's like really freaking dark.
Yep.
Like I hate how dark the Corsair is, right?
Yep.
But then the aesthetic might speak to you more than say one of the Origin ships does.
It is. The key question was, what's our favourite interior of ship? And I've got lots. At the end of the day, I pretty much like all the ships, but some do speak to me. I like the living quarters in the Argo crane ship, the cargo carrier. I like the way that's done. I like the living area in there. It's just
and the raft.
If I had to speak purely interiors, and I'm talking just on a complete vanity basis based on nothing else other than vanity, interior wise my favorite at the moment is Anvil, and it's probably just because of that Star Wars vibe.
Another one I really like is the Reclaimer. I love the interior of a Reclaimer. It's got that alien vibe, so it's not just a space homey thing. It is. There will be interiors that speak to you for different reasons, and I've just listed half a dozen that speak to me for different reasons. So I think the Carrack kind of almost has a Star Trek-y interior vibe, just because of the rooms and the layout. I expect the Idris will do the same.
At the end of the day, though, you're not going to be using a ship if it doesn't fit its function, so to speak. So at the end of the day, I don't think you're like, we've had people come at us and they've literally almost verbatim described a Kraken, but they won't buy a Kraken because they won't buy Drake ships or stuff like that. So you've got to be a little bit flexible. Otherwise, you're just going to be purchasing ships based on manufacturers, and that seems like a really weird way to buy things to me. You want
Look, I think people will choose things the way they like.
what you want, essentially. But
sometimes
you've got to be happy with your purchase, and if you're not happy with it, then But again, if you're putting taking the heart out and just using the head, you've got to use logic, and logic dictates you want the gameplay first before the ship, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, but again, sometimes that look is what drives you to play the game or not play the game. I think of World of Warcraft. I hated the graphic style of World of Warcraft, so I didn't play it. I hate the 8-bit graphics of Evo or Minecraft. So I definitely don't play Minecraft. And I get into Evo occasionally, but I'm reluctant because I don't like the graphics or the style. But the games are good. Evo is a great game, but the style and the graphics just push me away. And I think that's going to be the same with a lot of ships as well. If they really don't like that style, they'll avoid it just because of that enjoyment factor. And so there's that yin and yang of purpose and look that's got to be met for people. But yeah.
All right.
Last 2 questions.
Yeah, we've got 2 questions. Last Citizen Scott says, you guys want to make yourselves in-game 323 or going straight for the craziest looking characters you can create? I am expecting a certain extra crazy levelness in 323 after seeing the customizers today. I don't know about you, Algared.
Are you going to make yourself go crazy?
I think I already am crazy, so I don't know. I generally play as a female character when I play, so yeah, I don't know. I'll see. I'll just have a play around. I don't know yet. That's what I'm saying.
My standard character is always an attempted version of me. So yeah. So I'm looking. Right at the beginning, I'm looking forward to bids.
So what we'll do, Algared, is when it drops, we'll do a character customizer one, and the one that can make the best Algared will win a ship. How does that sound? We'll do that.
There you go. The best Algared gets a ship.
One that makes him look the most Tavaran as possible. walking
It has
chicken.
to be a proper Algared, not a.
No, it's voted on by me. I'm the judge. It's the best one by me. Yeah, it's the best one by me.
Yeah.
You gotta wink, wink. Nudge, nudge.
No.
Yes. Yes.
No.
Yes. Yes.
No.
CIG gives me the ships, man. I'm giving the ships away. My choice. Yeah, I'm the judge. All right, last question, Agrid. Go for it. We're going to end 35 minutes early. It's going to be great. We're going to be able to have breakfast. And, awesome. Right, Fat Gus says,
based on value, what is the best loner set on the Matrix? Same question, but based on gameplay functionality. I think at the moment it's still the Endeavors, Starfarer, and Cutlass Red. Now, Cutlass Red has lost some of the.
I think it's a Galaxy.
Doesn't have the.
Yeah, I based on value, he's correct that it's 100% the Galaxy because you get the Carrack, which is like what's the value?
Oh yeah,
of the,
and you get gameplay.
Yeah. I don't agree with that because, quite honestly, I think the Caterpillar should have been a loner for the Galaxy personally, considering their gameplay. But
I think loners are tracks.
Yep.
And to stay away from them.
Yep. Like even when the Galaxy dropped, I was like, "What the hell? The Carrack's a loner? That's just insane." That is like
that's people to get people to lock in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's very few ships that I would say this is worth locking in a ship for. I think the Endeavor's one. Because, and the reason I say that is because it's so cheap now compared to what it will be. B, we know it's the end game ship. We know it's one of the last ships they're going to build.
Yeah.
And so if you know you want an Endeavour, lock it in at the cheapest price you can get it and get two ships that are valued more than at present. But generally,
I think more importantly than both those statements, though, is you're getting so much gameplay for that price. That's that's the real reason why we always recommend.
That's why we always say get it, and that's why
it's why we recommend the Endeavour over the Crucible because of the gameplay, not just the size thing and all those other reasons, but like you've only got one gameplay in the Crucible, but you get so much more in the Endeavour. So it's a really good ship to pick if you don't know what you want to do because you just get, and the Caterpillar and the Galaxy fall into that as well because they
and when you
give you multiple options.
And if you do have the Endeavour in game, like you've actually locked it into your hangar, you get a Starfarer and you get the Cutlass Red. The Cutlass Red's not a bad ship. And then the Starfarer, well, it's clunky, but it's not bad for cargo. It's got some gameplay now that does the refueling. As time goes on, that will just get increase its capability, but at the end of in the long run, a lot of the loaner ships are a trap. You gets you to actually apply your CCUs to use the ship. My view of applying CCUs is only apply the CCU if it is a ship you 100% know you want and never want to change from.
It almost makes you think though that they kind of hope people upgrade from the Galaxy to the Carrack type of thing. Yeah. It's like, here, we'll tantalize you with this. Oh, we've now taken it away, so you'll have to go get one now,
Or and I think that's part of the idea of a loaner. You get the ship, you use that ship that's loaned, and then when your ship comes out and you no longer have it, you go, but I liked that ship, and so you go and buy it.
Right. My only concern with getting the Endeavour now, like applying a chain to the Endeavour, would be, let's say it grows to 1,000 meters. That's a lot of ship.
Again, the earn down economy, like it.
Yep.
And people always have this innate fear of like, I don't have enough friends, but you got the in-game friend finder system and all that type of stuff, the in-player rating system, so people aren't going to fuck around. Like it just like everything they've said has only put me at ease. It hasn't made me feel worse. It's made me, it's very clear they are wanting to work us, pushing us towards working as big groups of people in ships, and just looking at the economics of scale and things like that, it's so obvious that people are not going to go run. Like if you're going around in a prospector on your own, you're either going to be working with other big ships and helping them out, or you are truly just wanting a completely soloistic experience and you do not care about the money you are making. You'll give two shits.
Almost, if you're doing that, you're almost doing a survival game.
Yeah.
But if you're if you want to get the most out of a game, I think you go groups, and you can do you can do survival games where you're playing by yourself, but you always get the most fun out of them, I think, when you play them as a group.
Hang on, Algared, I do want to answer those two. So there's people are switching to more questions, so I'll answer them. So Lemoid says, is 400i better than the Corsair in any way other than aesthetics? Yeah, I think
it's faster.
I think it. So essentially, the way I would explain the 400i is it is essentially a medium ship masquerading as a large ship. It has the features of things like the Spirit, the Cutlass, the Zeus and stuff like that, and it's almost reflected in the price point. If you look at it, if you look at the look of those ships, they go from roughly $100 all the way up to look at the Marquee Mark. What is it, $90? And that's going to go up when it comes out. And it was at 220 for the 400. So you can see that there's now this gap, and that is right on the end of that gap. And it is technically a large ship from size, but it's this very long, elongated ship, and it's designed for 3 people, which is also what the Zeus is, so that's why we say it's masquerading. It's not really a large ship. It's just being stretched out to fit type of thing. So in my book, the Corsair is a better ship on paper, and it is, well, at the time it was roughly around the same price. But yeah, if I had to pick between the two, I'd be taking the Corsair. More guns. I believe it's got more cargo. You can put an Ursa rover in it. You can only put a smaller vehicle in the back of the 400i. I believe I think it doesn't quite fit an STV, or it does. So it's only a small vehicle that you can put in the back of it. It's not very big at all. The only thing it's really got that it's exclusive for it is the temperature controlled cargo rooms, and that'll eventually come to other ships, I have no doubt.
I fully expect
it's the smallest ship with a scanning table.
In Aquila.
Sorry, Lemmy, what'd you say?
It's the smallest ship with a scanning table.
True.
Yep.
But it's still technically a large, because once pad sizes come in, it sizes kind of become. I guess if you're trying to get into somewhere, yeah, I guess. I'm just trying to see how that's relevant. Yeah.
Well, we don't know what a scanning table is going to do, so.
Yeah. So the only to go back to Lemonoid's questions, I'd have to say it's got something to do with aesthetics. At the end of the day, if you don't like Drake, then yeah, that's probably the closest. But that would also argue that the 600i is still a thing, and that's a large as well. For me, if I was looking, the closer for functionality would have to be the unfortunately the 600i. Yeah, the Origin ships are over engineered and over defended. And that's why they're a higher price point. They are better ships, but you pay a shit ton more for them. Long story short.
I reserve judgment on saying that the 600i is the better of those Explorers, just because we don't know what it's going to.
I'm talking purely stats.
But stats wise, yeah.
If you took a Corsair and compared it to the 600i right now, it does. They all do the same thing, type of thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but when you do a 400 to Corsair, you can't do that because they don't line up. They're different size class. So yeah.
And when you look at and part of that is when they were building the Corsair, they were comparing it to the Connie and the 600. They didn't mention the 400i, and I think that's because it was before its time. So it fits between. It fits lower than them in terms of the exploration aspect, but it fits higher. It fits kind of mid in between them in terms of a weapon aspect, because it's kind of Connie size, but it's but yeah. Warring Pro snuck in another question on.
No, you got the Artemis one to do first.
Artemis, okay.
Yep. So Artemis says, so Starfield turned out to be a real star system killer, and then he does like a laugh emoji. What's the next straight to flyable ship do you guys envision? It's kind of like that unannounced one we talked about earlier.
I think that unannounced one might be an option.
Probably something military related, but then again, they did the Lynx last year, so who knows? You can sell anything at Invictus at this point. So yeah, it's probably something more likely smaller when they're unannounced. It's not like they're going to pop out and go, "Here's a carrier." It's something that they've popped out in 12 months or whatever. So, I again go back to the yellow silhouette image video. I'd say that small one is probably most likely end of year. But never say never. Oh no, I'm interested. It's just that they've been very close to the chest, and we haven't had any leaks or anything like that. So
that's okay. I don't mind that. Like,
I don't mind a surprise every once in a while.
No.
But
again, Warring Pro.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so Warring Pro's question. I see you guys are making assumptions about the Endeavour's size. However, are you taking into consideration that the size metrics are based on the old smaller Cutlass model?
We have an entire video on this that went like viral as shit.
Yep.
And it literally goes through talking about the size it is now, the size it could minimalistically be, and the size, and this is like 3 years old at this point, and the size that we'd heard that it had been rumored to be, and basically based on the Kraken and a few other things, I think the minimal length we worked out was like 420 meters, and I think Grim, if you're still here, he worked that out as well. Star Jump Grim, if you're still there on Twitch, I think it was about 420 meters is the minimum length this thing can be.
We also know that even if they were using the metrics based on the old Cutlass, that the Endeavour has been said to be able to take a Apollo in its landing bay, and if you look at the landing pads of a Kraken, the two big pads on the Kraken, they are Cutlass landing pads.
Yeah.
And that tells you the size of a landing bay for the Endeavour that it has to be if it's able to take two of those.
So just hang on, Grim. It was around about 420 meters, wasn't it? Though the minimum that you worked out, and I think it was on par with what we worked out. Was it 400 or 420? Just give me a number. Sorry, Algared, go ahead.
Yep. No, it's important to get that. But I know we worked it out big, and I know Paul had heard that it was about larger. I think he'd heard at one point bigger than a Bengal.
He said Bengals. He said Bengal sized, and we even did that. We went to that extreme and said so it was 200 meters currently. We said if it at least had to double because of things that had changed the Hornet and stuff like that. But if you also take into account now that it's got to fit a large ship on it, as in an Apollo, that's a huge ass hangar. That is a huge ass hangar.
Even if you're taking an Apollo, it's a bloody huge hangar.
I don't think it'll be bigger than Jav either, Grim. But Grim did say it's about. He said, I think so. Yeah, around 420. So 420
I don't
meters.
Think it's going to be bigger than a. I've always thought when they said it was Bengal sized, what they were doing is they'd placed out every room and component they wanted on the ship and did it in a line, and then went and that was before they'd even looked at consolidating or shrinking things down. But I think it was slightly smaller than a Jav, I think, or a bit bigger than a Jav. It's kind of the figures we were kind of pushing around. But yeah.
What's the one with the pods on it?
What do you mean pods on it?
Is it the Olympic? I think it's the Olympic. Yeah, it is the Olympic. All right, so this is what Algared was talking about. So I'm just gonna hang on. I just realized I didn't bring everyone with me. Hang on.
Yep.
Typical me. So there's the Kraken currently. Algared's talking about these two big medium pads, right? We know that it's got to fit two Cutlasses underneath this middle section on the Apollo. So if you kind of go, this thing has to grow. Like you start to scale it up and go, how big does this have to be? You know what I mean? And you start to very quickly go, oh shit, this thing's gonna be freaking huge. And I'm just trying to, like, you guys can say how big it's gonna be yourselves, right? But if you've got to fit two pads like that underneath this thing,
if you pull up the Endeavour Hope, that's the one that generally has the landing bay.
It does have that on it. Hang on. You are correct, sir. Add Hope. Yeah. So that little landing bay there essentially has to be as big as or close to two of these, right? So even if we say that's one, right? So you got to scale it up. So at minimum, it is
2.
2, right? So at minimum, that is freaking
to keep the same scale and everything.
Yeah, that's kind of scary to put that in a nutshell, you know. And that
and then you look at the hospital aspect of that, and that is a full hospital, not just a little.
Now I have also scaled it length and width and breadth, and it's probably might only need to go in 1 or 2 of those, and it probably doesn't have to go all those. But I'm just trying to get you to think how much it's got to grow, right? And again, currently it's 200 meters. What we worked out, it had to be so that is 270, and a jav I believe is 480 if I put a jav in here, and we I think what we worked it out to, and I can't remember all the stuff that we went to, but we basically worked out that it had to be so yeah, what's that, 480, so it had to be around about 420, so it'd probably be a little smaller than this.
So I just sent you an image on Discord, Execute, and it's completely ignoring all of this cutlass fits and everything like that. If you just look at the scale of the Odyssey and then the scale of the Endeavor, it matches what you're saying here too. So it's just more proof that this thing is going to get big.
Yeah, we've been saying it for years and years and years. But yeah, no, that's a really good one there. Sorry, that really, what he said there, like if you do scale up to kind of roughly match the same size as the cab, it is similar to 420. I'd say it's a little bit shorter. But yeah, again, I don't have a measurement tool. You know what, Grim, would you be able to send us an image of that in the, because you've probably got the tools better than us, but like propose, you know, like it, or maybe even add it to Hanger Link, a proposed potential minimum size of the Endeavor, because you got the ability to do that, Grim. So if you could do that, it'd be kind of cool.
But I know when the Odyssey first came out, but one of my thoughts was this gives us an indication of the cab size for an Endeavour. And I know that was something we talked about at the time, but yeah.
John Crew just doesn't like the ship because it's got so many moving parts. It's got so many modules. It's such a big ship. Like he never would have made a ship this big, that modular.
And it's got lots of gameplay loops that aren't even in game yet.
Yeah.
So it is a nightmare for a ship builder.
Yeah. So I'm expecting this almost like the Banu in price to do a similar thing to what the Banu did. So yeah, whether it will do the same, we'll see. But like again, you're getting a ship at $350, and that thing is way, like, even at its current size at $350, it's great value. And personally, but like it just has to grow based on metrics, because they had an older metric system and they've now got a newer one, and the only 2 ships left are the 2 that we recommend a lot, which is the Endeavor and the Crucible. For those reasons, we know they're growing. You know, because they have to. Again, if they bring them up to metrics, I wonder. Oh man, so that'd actually be a really good way to do it. Actually, hang on. If I go back in here, and I switch these to that view, and then I add a Crucible, and then I add an Odyssey.
Odyssey in front of the Crucible and grab a Crucible to fit. Yep.
That was exactly what I was thinking. You read my mind. So if we grab those 2 and then go to this view, so we know that this and this has to be on par size-wise, but you can currently see that that's not quite. So because it's just this part here, by the way, guys, just that little part there. So that would be very similar to how big the Crucible is going to get. That's, and I wonder if I add the original Crucible. Oh, you son of a bitch.
Sometimes, but that's like
I clicked the back button. What a pain in the ass. All right, let's do this one more time real quick. Odd. See, and then if I go Crucible, Right. So I'll leave one alone. Right. So this has to go. Bit too big there. Something like that. So there we go. That kind of
A sizable jump.
yeah, what a 25%. Somewhere in that
Yeah.
ballpark. Right. And I just realized we can essentially do the same thing with the Endeavor, which is kind of what you had in that image before. Fleming.
Put the Endeavor down and then put the cab on top and grow it to the size so it fits the cab.
Yep. So wait.
Yeah, that's kind of what I did.
Yeah. What'd you say? Hope. We'll add 2 hopes. Delete that one. Delete selected. And then we'll add Kraken just because the Kraken's got those pads on it. Makes it easier.
Oh, while he's working on that, I don't know if that was my image or not. I did one similar. That's possible. That's not my image. I don't want to take credit for somebody else's stuff. So.
That's fine. That's fine. I don't think anyone would mind. And if they do, well, they need to grow up a bit.
So while you're doing that,
Mm-hmm.
I'll stick in those last couple of questions that have snuck in. Fat Gus says, which ship do you most want to rename, and what would you name it instead?
The ones that break convention always piss me off. So.
I hate the name of the Expanse with every bit of my being.
Don't hold back. Tell us how you really feel. Right. So, like, again, seeing how much the Crucible grows there, look how much more the Odyssey grows. It's kind of nuts. It's easily twice the size. And again, I know I've made this wider as well. It might just be longer, not just wider. But I think that, I don't know, does that, guys, give you a good thought process?
Yeah, next to that largened up Endeavor as well. That gives you a good indication.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I almost need a third one then, don't I? Because well, let's add a third one then. And Dev, because he did it in a different way to how I would do it. So it was the hope. Bring this over here. Do this. So you want to make this the same size as that. Would you say, yeah, that's about right, yeah?
Yep.
So yeah, so this is very similar to the video we did. So here's the original, here's the, you know, somewhere in the middle, and here's where it potentially could go. Yeah, and it's kind of scary when you look at it like that. But this is just based on things that they've said. And again, realistically, what I'm expecting them to do is just make that cut, make the ship longer. Rather than both wider and whatever.
Yeah, and it depends on what they do with the modules as well. So there's a whole host of different things they can do to.
Yeah, I'd picture something like this, just longer in the midsection. So imagine this size, but then it was as long as this one. That's kind of what I'm expecting. But yeah.
I've been speculated, and this is total speculation.
Mm-hmm.
If they do the concertinaing of the midsection of a tube, which the connections go onto.
Mm.
So
you and I
bits could be concertinaed down like a whole C.
Well, you and I even talked about realistically at the moment it really kind of just goes out sideways. What about using all 4 points as well? So like instead of the biopods just being out straight, you could have 2 straight, 2 up, or whatever, and that allows them to decrease the length of the ship and stuff like that.
So it's not just one way of dealing with it. It's a whole host of different ways of dealing with the ship.
Mm-hmm. Because it is space lock, so you don't ever need to go and only the hab has to go land, so you can have different gravity points and stuff like that. So imagine if they took the 2 biopods, and instead of having them all flat level like that, they turned them sideways and then had 4 of them and they rotate or something like that. You know what I mean? So instead of having to have 2 really big ones, you can have 4 medium small ones, so to speak. You know, you can decrease the size. Why can't they make it a giant, massive ring? Why does it have to be 2 biopods, one on each side? Why can't it be this just massive glass ring that spins around the entire, you know, like they can redo all that. They were locked into restrictions. There's no reason they can't change that all to fit now. And visually, how cool would that look? Just a massive glass ring. You know, it's kind of like a metal, you know, frame, and there's just this glass, big glass ring, and it looks sick.
You know, if it's basically a floating or a mobile space station, why can't we have a ring like on the stations that go through the ship? So,
and we know they're going to have tech to walk up walls and that based off the Xenon stuff. So why can't you just have an area where you walk? So, you know, you're walking along the passage in the ship, and all of a sudden you go out into one of the modules, and you just literally, you know, like it'll be awesome.
Yeah. So there's lots they can do, but basically we know the ship's going to grow in size. Because it's the old metric. The endeavor that we've got is the old metric. We know it's going to grow in size to fit the components and everything else. So that's the absolute bare minimum. We know it's got to grow. The question is how much it grows and why it has to grow. And that is part of the speculation we go into. And as you can see, we've got, you know, the original, we've got a conservative, and we've got an outlandish growth for the endeavor. So yeah. So Fat Gus's question on what ship do we most want to rename and what we rename it. I'd just like to see them change so we don't have the same name repeated.
Like the Liberator.
Like the Liberator. We've got a Liberator livery, we've got a Liberator ship, we've got
and really wasted things like they've got Titan suits coming, but then they use the names of Titans for ships. It would have made so much more sense to every Titan suit is a Titan. It's just a no-brainer. They're all just little lore things, man. And at the end of the day, I think they'll have a massive retcon at some point. They'll
fix it up. There'll be some things they change, some things they'll keep the same, some things they'll just have doubled up names. Bit like I was looking at something and someone was saying, why do the US have M1? M1 everything. Helmets are M1s, guns are M1s, tanks are M1s. Because it's just a naming convention they use, you know, so CRG could do something similar. So another question snuck in. You might want to turn the bot off because they're sneaking questions in.
Yeah, well, they're sneaky bastards. All right, bot's gone.
So no more questions. So Artemis TGM says, thanks for interacting with chat and answering random questions. 100% Star Citizen is definitely my top 3 most anticipated games. Top 3 games? It's all top 3. Wow. That's pretty impressive.
I'm going to do a quick poll on Twitch. They get to choose today because I've got 2 curators that I both want to do. All right, who you want to rate? Actually, or do I be an ass and make YouTube? No, I'll put YouTube in as well and they can pick where Twitch goes. Who do you want to raid? We've got Paul or we've got Void Dude. They're both on and they've both raided us in the past, so I want to raid one of them, so we'll see. Start a poll. Who you want to raid? Who you want Twitch to raid? Actually, I can probably... Actually, how about we do both? We'll do Void do it on Twitch, and I'll do Paul on YouTube. Give me a minute. It takes a minute to set up on YouTube, because...
All right, so while you're setting it up, Awaking Death says, could I interject and ask a potential Fleet Fix question? It's my fleet, I think is there a reason to own both the MSR and Corsair?
Yes.
Yeah.
One's more combat related, the other one is less combat related, and also it's data running.
Yeah. But if you could only have one, then it depends on what
comes down to
play
personal. Yeah.
Yep.
God, I can't find where it is, Algared. Looking for the redirect thing. Redirect. All right. Well, what we'll do is we'll raid on Twitch, so Twitch is not here with us. So we'll raid Void Dude. I think that's his name.
And Roaring Pro has one question. He says, could CIG retcon the hangar of a Crucible? They did it with a Javelin, taking away the ability to hold a Redeemer. Crucible may get a C8R hangar. They've already retconned the Crucible hangar, not the Crucible hangar, the Crucible hangar. They could, but I don't think so. Because it's supposed to, the Crucible's supposed to be able, has always been able to take a Hornet. And it's a repair ship. So I don't see them doing that. Right. It has to be able to take a size 1 ship for repair of fighters and stuff.
All right, we're about to lose the people on Twitch. So, Twitch.
So it's everyone on YouTube say bye Twitch, bye Twitch.
Remember the tier list show at this weekend as well. So we'll have Loken, Space, and Paul as well as ourselves there. And that should be out to you. So it's Total Shenanigans, where we go every ship in the game and we all rate it and tell you what we think of it and all that. And it's just all our own personal opinions and a chance for us to catch up. So hope you guys enjoy that. People usually do. We do as well. So yeah. And I got that Bar Citizen. Other than that, we've had a few extra people on the GoFundMe as well. Didn't show that off today, but we can look at that next time. It's no biggie. All right, with that then, see you Twitch. YouTube, say goodbye Twitch. Twitch, say goodbye YouTube. Bye. Have a good week. Bye. And they're gone. Now we can talk about them behind their back. Right. Sorry. Right. With that then, if you're on YouTube, don't forget to, gotta find this thing. Where is it? Like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and thank you to everyone that went extra mile on Patreon at the end of the video. Right. With that then, I am not exactly sure how this works, but it's been set up to redirect to Paul. I believe it will bring up a little thing in the chat box over here for you guys that says, do you want to raid Paul or whatever? So go over there and tell some abuse at him. He's currently doing the event. Ask him his thoughts on the F7A, and remind him he's got to come to the thing this weekend.
Yep.
The tier list show.
Ask him what his favourite ship is.
Yeah. Favourite ship interior was actually a good question, by the way. Whoever asked that one. So yeah, ask him that too. All right. The voice in the void has been Algared.
Bye.
You meant to say, and this is
not speaking to me, pointing to him.
Yeah, but you've forgotten. Oh, and Lemming was here too. Lemming, say goodbye.
Bye, everyone.
All right. See you guys.
Alrighty,
See you,
take care.
citizens. Bye.